required and as soon as the same day funding. That's right. Pull off your own debt-defying stunt with a SoFi personal loan. Visit SoFi.com/trick to learn more. Loans originated by SoFi Bank N.A. Member FDIC. Terms and conditions apply. NMLS 696891.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
Live from the palatial yet not overly ostentatious studios of the Infinity Sports Network here in beautiful New York City, sitting on top of the 10th floor, 345 Hudson Street. Welcome on in to what is a Wednesday edition of the Zach Gelb Show across all the great local Infinity Sports Network affiliates, Sirius XM Channel 375, the free Odyssey app, the iHeartRadio app, and streaming live on YouTube. 888-710-4ISN is the number to jump on in. That's 888-710-4476. You could always get at me on Instagram, where I'm straight flexing, or via the good old cesspool of Twitter at Zach Gelb. You can find us on TikTok at the Zach Gelb Show. Mr. Pat Boyle will be joining us at 3:40 p.m. Eastern time today, so 40 minutes from now. Langston Patterson, a senior captain and linebacker for the 10th-ranked team in the country in Vanderbilt, he is going to stop by 2 hours from now at 5 p.m. Eastern time, 2 p.m. Pacific. All righty, let's start off with Maxx Crosby. I did not anticipate that we'd be leading the show today with Maxx Crosby. I was actually taken aback yesterday when Samter mentioned it, or Stu mentioned it in onside, offside, or it was overreaction, proper reaction, where the Dallas Cowboys have interest in one Maxx Crosby. And the report from Trey Wingo was that the Cowboys have made inquiries with the Raiders about a potential trade for Maxx Crosby. Now, two things off this report that has since been refuted. And maybe it's not totally wrong that the Cowboys weren't interested in one Maxx Crosby, but you get to a bigger thing here where the Raiders basically told Tom Pelissero and Jane Slater that Maxx Crosby isn't interested in getting traded, and we're not interested, and we have no plans on intending on trading him from now until the deadline. But you look at it from the Cowboys' perspective. They're calling the Raiders, allegedly, reportedly, according to Trey Wingo, which doesn't mean that it's necessarily true. And they are calling the Raiders about a potential trade for Maxx Crosby. Number one, you had Micah Parsons and you didn't trade him. You didn't keep him, and you traded him. So what does that tell you about them potentially inquiring for Maxx Crosby? Well, they realized they made a mistake then. Because I understand Maxx Crosby is a heck of a football player. Maxx Crosby is a reliable player. Maxx Crosby really doesn't come with any drama or distractions, but you had an alpha. You had one of the best pass rushers in the league in Micah Parsons, and he's younger than Maxx Crosby too, and he's highly compensated Maxx Crosby, just like how Micah Parsons got highly compensated. Now it's more years for Micah than it is Max, and you said you didn't want him anymore for what? Kenny Clark and 2 first-round picks. So I look at this, and I say to myself, this feels as if Jerry Jones is panicking, and he's trying to quickly rectify what ended up being a blunder already in trading Micah Parsons. That's what that feels like. The other thing is, I know that the Cowboys are directionalists, but they're 3-3-1 right now. And you look at the NFC, the Eagles are 5-2, but I don't think they're a strong team. The Commanders have been disappointing at 3-4. The Packers are good at 4-1-1. The Lions are good at 5-2. The Bears, I don't think they're as good as what their record says they are, but they are a 4-2 football team. We'll see what happens with Minnesota, who's 3-3 with their quarterback situation. Tampa Bay is the walking wounded right now, but they're 5-2. The Panthers are 4-3. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. The Falcons are 3-3. It seems like they're heading to 8-9 or 9-8 this season. The 49ers are a heck of a team at 5-2, but they're banged up. The Seahawks are 5-2, but people still don't trust Sam Darnold in a big spot. And the Rams, they're fine. They're good. They're 5-2. So even if the Cardinals even if the Cowboys, made the move and they somehow got the Raiders to say, okay, we're going to trade you Maxx Crosby, what is that going to do for the Cowboys? It gets them immediate help on the defensive side of the ball. Maybe then you could be a wild card team, but in a weird way, for the entire outlook of this season, and I know this move would be more than just this season, even though Crosby is a heck of a player and one of my favorite players in the league, I actually think I picked him before the start of the season to win Defensive Player of the Year. But does it move the needle enough where it impacts your ultimate win-loss record drastically? Like, if the Cowboys were 5-2 right now, I think it's a different conversation. But they're 3-3-1. And Stu, let me ask you this. If the Raiders were to trade Maxx Crosby, you would want at least 1 first-round pick back, right?
Oh, yeah. At least the first, and probably other picks in the middle of the draft, or maybe even like a third or something like that. Yeah, definitely.
But you would
first.
at least, you don't need necessarily, you would like 2 ones, but you
Sure.
don't need 2 ones. You would definitely need a first round
Definitely need a first round pick, yes.
So let me just make sure that I'm processing this correctly. If the Raiders traded Maxx Crosby to the Cowboys, they would use one of the first round picks that they got for Micah Parsons. They would still have a leftover first round pick. And they would still have Kenny Clark. So you'd basically trade Micah Parsons for Maxx Crosby, a first-round pick, and Kenny Clark. Not a bad deal, right? Not horrible when you look at it that way. But I just asked this simple question then. If you were, and it's not going to happen, but if you were going to end up trading for Maxx Crosby, why didn't you just keep Micah Parsons? And that's the part, Stu, that I sit here and I say, the Cowboys really fly by the seat of their pants, and they just try things out really day by day.
You never know what you're getting from them. Right. It doesn't make sense. It's like you're running a team in Madden, and you're just making moves to make moves that don't really in the end make sense, but that's cherry for you.
All righty, Samter. I know you were optimistic on the Cowboys before they traded away Micah Parsons. So I'll ask you this. The Dallas Cowboys right now are 3-3-1. Let's just play this game. If they traded for Maxx Crosby tomorrow, and let's say he was eligible to play on Sunday, give me win-loss here for the Dallas Cowboys. At Denver on Sunday.
Denver has looked, outside of that fourth quarter against the Giants, they've looked really, they almost lost to the Jets. They were terrible for 3 quarters against the Giants. I'm not sold on them right now. I'm going to go win.
Okay. Do it for me this way. I just want the immediate reaction.
Yep.
Just go win-loss.
That one was
just
tough
go
just because.
win-loss. Don't think about it too much.
Win.
As they used to say when I was in 4th grade, keep it simple, silly. All right? Just kiss. Keep it simple, silly.
They called you silly? They said stupid to me.
Well, yeah, but that's not nice. We got to be accepting of everyone now in the year of 2025, and stupid is a very mean word, and it offends me. Monday night, Arizona Cardinals.
Win.
Bye week, then at the Raiders.
Win.
Eagles.
Loss.
Chiefs, Thursday night.
Loss.
At the Lions.
Loss.
Minnesota. Minnesota!
You know what? Honestly, I feel like J.J. McCarthy will be back, and that'll be good for Dallas. I'll say win.
Okay. Chargers.
Win.
At the Commanders on a Thursday night, short week.
At the Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
They
and
just
they already
beat them. I'm going to say loss.
At the Giants.
Win.
So that would give them 6 wins plus the 3 that they already have. So that would make them a 9-win football team.
9-6-1.
Yeah.
So they'll be ahead of any 9-8 team.
Yeah, 9-6. Yeah, you're right. Be 9-6. What a weird record.
No, I'm sorry.
No,
9-7-1.
I was going to say
9-7-1. So, but they'll still be ahead of 9 and 8 teams.
So now do this for me.
Okay.
That was with Maxx Crosby.
Yes.
Now without Maxx Crosby. At Denver on Sunday.
I still think win.
Cardinals.
Win.
At the Raiders.
Win.
Eagles.
Loss.
Chiefs.
Loss.
At the Lions.
Loss.
Minnesota.
Loss.
Chargers.
Loss.
At the Commanders.
I'm not giving them 6 straight losses. I'll say win.
Okay.
Maybe they'll win that Chargers game, but yeah, I'll go win just to. They're not losing 6 straight with or without.
At the
Max.
Giants.
Win.
So that would be 5 wins plus the extra 3. That would be 8 wins on the season. So Maxx Crosby, in Samter's mind, is getting you 1 more win, and I don't think that's crazy. Now, I understand it's more than just this year, but once again, if it's more than just this year, why don't you just keep Micah Parsons in the first place? Now, with that being said, Tom Pelissero had this to say today, and along with Jane Slater. The Raiders met with star defensive end Maxx Crosby today to let him know that they aren't shopping him and won't trade him, sources tell me and Jane Slater. While other teams are interested, the Raiders aren't interested in moving their best player, and Crosby wants to stay in Las Vegas. This is the most obvious report that I've ever seen in the history of reporting. The time for Maxx Crosby to divorce the Raiders was last deadline. The time for Maxx Crosby to divorce the Raiders, if it wasn't last deadline, was this offseason. What did Maxx Crosby do this offseason? He signed a brand new spanking extension with the football team. 3 years, $106.5 million. Maxx Crosby, whether you think it's right or wrong, Maxx Crosby, whether you agree with the decision or not, he loves the silver and black. He loves the Raiders. And he loves living in Las Vegas. Whether you think it's the best thing or not for his career in terms of wins and losses is irrelevant to him. Right? I could sit here and say, Max, leave the Raiders. We need to see you on a title contender. Samter could say the same thing. Heck, I even think if Stu's being honest, for the best interest of Maxx Crosby, he would even say, I'd hate to see him go, but at least he could go win somewhere because he ain't going to win here because this football team absolutely stinks and they're nowhere close. So Stu could say that as a Raiders fan. Samter could say that as a Jet fan. I could say that as a Patriot fan. And we all agree Maxx Crosby is an incredible player, but he doesn't care. He is one of those unique guys where he wants to find a way to get the job done with the Raiders, even if it means that he never sniffs the postseason for the rest of his career. This is who he is. And when you just went through this last year, and I thought he could have got traded at the deadline. I thought maybe he'd go to Buffalo. I thought maybe he'd go to Detroit. And there was no trade at the deadline, and they reward him with the contract extension this offseason. Guess what that tells me? Yeah, Maxx Crosby's not leaving the Raiders by this deadline. And the dead cap is $72-something million, $73 million. It makes no sense, even if the Raiders wanted to trade him, for the Raiders to actually trade him. So right now, Maxx Crosby doesn't want to leave the Raiders. The Raiders don't want Maxx Crosby to leave them. So the Cowboys could call, other teams could call, but he ain't going anywhere. So let's do this now. We'll take it a step further. Who is a player that you think it is a possibility and an impact player that they could get traded from now into the deadline? Like Maxx Crosby is an impact player. Maxx Crosby would be a tremendous acquisition for some teams, but it's got to be realistic. Stu, give me someone that you think is realistic that could get traded from now into the deadline.
I'm going to go with the Dolphins, and I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle. I think that he is a receiver that could make a big impact on a lot of teams, including your Patriots. I know the in-division trade, that's a little shaky sometimes. Come
on, Chris Greer. You're still employed. Let's just be incompetent. Trade Jalen Waddle to the Patriots. Ooh, Drake May and Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle aboard the Mayflower. Ooh, that would be lovely.
I know you'd like that. And obviously, like, he's a very good receiver. The Dolphins are not good. They're not going anywhere. He only has 3 touchdowns this season, only 30 catches. The last game against the Browns, only 1 catch for 15 yards. Like, he's kind of wasting away there into his early prime in Miami, and I think this would probably be the right time for them to trade him.
So 2 things off of that. I think he could get traded. The weird thing here is, though, Chris Greer is probably not back next year. So I would almost want the new GM to make that decision. But you could get a nice return for him because he's under contract, obviously, for this season, 2026, 2027, and he's even under contract through 2028. He's not a free agent until 2029. So you get a young player in his prime, 27 years old. I don't think it's crazy to say that you could maybe get a first-round pick back for Jalen Waddle. Or maybe it's a 2 that turns into a 1. Like, there's going to be a nice return for Jalen Waddle. If I'm the Dolphins, though, I wouldn't trade him right now. Unless if you just get blown away with an offer. But I do think it's definitely a conversation that you could possibly have. And I do think for the right price, Jalen Waddle could get traded. Samter, who is your player?
We were talking a lot about Maxx Crosby, another defensive pass rusher / game wrecker. Trey Hendrickson. The Bengals saved their season, but how long do we really trust Joe Flacco to, lead this team like that? Maybe, but I'm not 100% sold. So if they continue losing and they're not out of the playoff picture, but they're just basically done, I think that Trey Hendrickson on a 1-year deal, clearly he's going to walk at the end of the year because he's pissed off of that organization with how they handle negotiations. He's gone, so you might as well get something back in return.
I'm going to say Chris Olave. I think Chris Olave is a very good wide receiver. We know what wide receivers, though, have to get paid now, and he is definitely in line to get a huge contract. He's got 1 year left on the contract after this year before he becomes a free agent. The Saints really are nowhere close. I think you could get Chris Olave where it's not going to cost the team a king's ransom to go get him. Like, it will be enough capital, but it's not a king's ransom because down the road you're eventually going to have to pay him, and there's only a year left on the contract after this season. So I would take a glance at Chris Olave. All right, it is Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a timeout. We'll come on back when we do return. The buyout on Mike Norvell's contract with the Seminoles of Florida State is massive. It is a behemoth buyout. Should Florida State get rid of Mike Norvell now? We'll answer that question on the other side. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB, G-E-L-B. Bet $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boudel Casino and Resort, Kansas. Passer of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets that are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass is subjected to blackouts and other restrictions and auto-renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until November 16th, 2025.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
I've always thought this. Fans don't really care about the money. Like, fans, the average guy that is sitting or gal on their couch on a college football Saturday, they don't care if the coach makes a lot of money or not. If the football product is horrible and unwatchable, then no one wants to hear, oh, a bunch of boosters or universities have to pay a king's ransom in order to get rid of the football coach. But the reality is, right, boosters and people that donate to the university and especially the football program, they play a big part in it. And if you could get the funds, then you could get rid of the football coach. So Mike Norvell, let me just say this full disclosure. I like Mike Norvell. He's come on this show a lot. It's always interesting when you have to talk about someone's job and they've been good to you. Mike Norvell has been good to me since he's been the coach, quite frankly, at Memphis. That's how long I've known Mike Norvell. So whether it's this business in terms of college football, our business, or really anyone's line of work, it's not fun to talk about maybe someone losing their job. But when it comes to Mike Norvell, that's the landscape of this business, right? That's the landscape, and that's the reality of being in the public spotlight, right? If you are some finance guy on Wall Street, you lose your job, there's not articles written about it. You're a radio host, you're a football coach, you are a podcaster, right? NFL player, you lose your job, it gets talked about. Sometimes those things that are written are true. Sometimes those things are untrue. But it gets speculated. If you're not delivering, people say how much longer they get to continue to employ you. So you take a glance at Mike Norvell. He walked in at Florida State, and it was ugly. Right? Willie Taggart was a disaster coming over from Oregon. I thought Willie Taggart did some good things when he was at USF, but went to Oregon for a year, then bolted to Florida State, and it did not work for him at Florida State. So Mike Norvell had a lot of work to do. 3-6, 5-7, and heading into that 2022 season, people are out on Mike Norvell. People said, oh, this isn't going to work. This is another Willie Taggart hire. This is going to be a disaster. And then Mike Norvell went 10-3. And I always say this, once you're out on a coach, it's very tough to get people back in on the coach. You look at Neil Brown at West Virginia. Yeah, I know Rich Rod's now the coach there. But people are out on Neil Brown, had one good season. People got back in, then was fired the next year. That's usually how this goes. So Mike Norvell, people are out on him. Then people are like, uh-oh, I'm back in. He just put up a 10-win season at Florida State. And then the next year, they're undefeated. And quite frankly, they should have made the college football playoff. I understand what the committee did. But when you're undefeated in the regular season, you win your conference championship, even in a 4-team format, you should go. But because of the quarterback injury, we know that wasn't the case. They lose the bowl game. No one basically played. And they ended up going 13-1. After that season, Because with college football, when you get into the preseason, it's all based off of what you did last year. And DJ Uiagalelei transfers over there. He's going to be replacing Jordan Travis, even though a lot of talent left, like Jared Verse and Braden Fisk and Keon Coleman, right? And you go through the names and the names and the names and the names of that program. With how they've hit on the transfer portal, and Mike Norvell has been a constant player at the transfer portal. And right, like if the transfer portal was a blackjack table, Mike Norvell isn't playing blackjack where Stu was playing blackjack this weekend. Mike Norvell is getting escorted into a private room which is the high limit room, the high rollers club. And that's where Mike Norvell is playing blackjack. And when you're in the high rollers club and you've won before, you think you're going back there and you're winning again. But you could go back there, and when you're spending that many funds, it's one thing when Stu's playing $20 hands of blackjack. And right? Did you take out $100 when you were there, I'm assuming?
Yeah, $15 hands, by the way.
Oh, 15,
yeah.
Sorry.
Yes.
They got a $15 hand table out there in Vegas?
We found them.
That's a good job out of you. But what I'm saying is, when you're playing $15 hands of blackjack, you could lose a lot of money. But it's going to be tough to lose money. When you're at the high limit table, the high slot table, the high roller table, as easy as it is to make a lot of money, it is even easier to not only lose money, but lose a lot of money. And in 2024, Mike Norvell went into that room with a lot of funds, because 2022 was good and 2023 was even better. And Mike Norvell was up a lot of millions. And then he walked out of that room down a lot of millions. And he lost it all. And after 2-10, I do think it's fair, right? I think everyone could understand, hey, it got away from him. Hey, it was a disaster. They picked the wrong quarterback. He just posted 10-3 and 13-1. Let's give the guy another chance. And then what happens week 1? They not only beat Alabama, they blasted Alabama. And then they go on to win 2 other games. So they're sitting there high and pretty. And you know what happens, right, Stu, when you're at the blackjack table and you lose a lot of money? What do you say? Go back to the casino. You go back to the ATM and you go, let me take out some more to try to win it back, right? Right? I've been there. And I've only done it with like $300, sometimes $500, right? I lose $500. And then I call up my cousin, who is not a good influence, if I'm being honest. And my cousin, I know the answer I'm getting from my cousin. When I call my cousin at a casino at 3 a.m, I know the answer I'm getting. And it's the answer that I want. Where I pick up that phone and I ask my cousin, hey, should I take out like an extra 200? I just lost like 300. And he goes, I think you should. And you know what? You go back after taking out maybe like $200 more. And you know what happens, Stu? You don't lose it right away. You win. You win. And you win. And then you sit in there and you go, okay, I made half of it back, right? Maybe I should walk away. But you go, ooh, I made half of it back. Maybe I could make 75% of it back. Maybe I could make all of it back. And what do? You then lose, right? You get 20, and then the dealer gets 21. And that's Virginia. That's what happened up against Virginia, where everyone was looking ahead to Miami. And then because you just had that bad beat where you had 20 and the dealer had 21, you then let it impact you the rest of the night. And then you lose to Miami. You lose to Pitt. And then you lose to Stanford. And even how they lost to Stanford, where it should have been a touchdown, you get 20 again. Oh, they're not going to get 21 again. Bam! 21. And then you walk out of there down all your funds. And that's where Mike Norvell is at right now. Mike Norvell right now, he's a dead man walking. Mike Norvell right now is a broke blackjack player. That's what he is. And he had opportunities. He had the funds. He looked like he was going to rob the casino for all they had. But now he's sitting there, and he is saying, I am a broke blackjack player. Now, in reality, Mike Norvell, even though it was a good little analogy that we just used, he ain't going to be broke. So ESPN made this clear on Tuesday that in order to fire Mike Norvell, it would cost Florida State $72 million to not only pay out Norvell and his coaching staff right now, but also his coaching staff. Norvell's current buyout is at $54 million. And the other $18 million would be to pay off his coaching staff. Now, remember, what did Mike Norvell do this offseason? He hired Tony White, and Tony White was at one point thought to be a head coaching candidate. He was on the Nebraska staff. Tony White brought a guy like Terrence Knighton over, pot roast, with him. And then also, what did Tony White, who did he have also join Mike Norvell there? Well, Mike Norvell also had Gus Malzahn say goodbye to UCF, and he gave him a big salary to be an offensive coordinator. That's what you have. There's a lot of money at stake here. So I could sit there and I could say, man, $72 million, you're paying a lot of money out to coaches to have them not coach. But I think of someone that's sitting on their couch right now in Tallahassee, right, that is not making a good living right now, that is doing the typical 9-to-5, blue-collar kind of job, and, right, they're breaking their back and they're busting their hump just to make ends meet and just to get by and just to put food on the table. And do you think they care if a booster's going to be able to dig deep in their pockets and they're going to have to dig really deep to get the $72 million? Do you think they're going to have sympathy for the university? Absolutely not. So it's easy for me to sit here and say, hey, Florida State's got to move on from Mike Norvell at the end of the season. But then they got to get the money. I've done this now long enough. The fans don't care as to how you get the money. It's just, will you get the money? Because ultimately, what's going to make the Florida State fans happy at this point? When they were already out on this coach once, then they got back in, then they gave him a chance last year. He was disappointing. And now after beating Alabama and then 2 other wins, then they lost 4 straight. You're not going to get the people back. You're not going to win back the people. So, with that being said, I think the Mike Norvell era is over at Florida State. The question just becomes with how much it's going to take in order to give him and his coaches the buyout. Will they allow the bludgeoning to continue for another season? That I don't know. But if I'm running the Florida State football team, you got to find a way to get the money. Because what I also think is maybe something that could be a possibility is they know Norvell isn't the guy. They released a statement supporting Mike Norvell, or at least saying he will be our guy until the end of the season, then we'll evaluate him. You know what that is screaming to me? That is screaming at me, guys, we don't have the funds yet. So if you're a booster, and let's say I'm some big rich snob, down in Tallahassee, and I love me some Florida State football, and I spend all this money, I'm sitting there. I don't know why I'm going to go with bourbon here, but I put down my bourbon, and I go, what did they just say? They're not ready to make that decision right now? What does that make me do? If I got the money, makes me call up people in the know and say, how much more money do you need? You need 30 more million? All right, I'll give you 10. Or I'll give you 5. And then someone else calls, I'll give you 5. I'll give you 10. And then slowly by slowly, the wheels are turning. And they get to whatever they need to get rid of Mike Norvell. So is it a possibility that Mike Norvell is back next year at Florida State? Yes. It's a possibility if they don't get the money. But with how early this is, and you now have about a month and a half to get the money, I think Mike Norvell is a dead man walking at Florida State, and he will be out at the end of the season. Zach Gelb here with you on the Infinity Sports Network. Pat Boyle will join us next. Update time first. Here's the Ackman, Rich Ackerman.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
And this report is brought to you by Advantage Gold. Championships are built on defense, so are winning retirement portfolios. Learn more about Advantage Gold today. Text GOLD to 85545. That's 85545, and see how gold and silver can help protect your retirement. Visit AdvantageGold.com for terms, message, and data rates may apply. The NBA season hit the ground running last night with a thrilling doubleheader, and tonight a full slate of games. Two Eastern Conference contenders will meet when the Knicks host the Cavaliers as Mike Brown begins another stint coaching. He'll lead the Knicks against the team that gave him his first opportunity. And Cooper Flagg makes his NBA debut when the Mavericks host Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. The top pick overall said he's ready to hit the ground running.
Everything, the whole experience, just being able to, play my first real game, obviously, but, just start a great season, a great journey with this team. I think we have a really good chance of being successful, so just really excited for it.
The Giants are filling their managerial vacancy by hiring Tennessee baseball coach Tony Vitello. He'll become the first person to make that jump without any professional experience. The Buccaneers have already ruled out Bucky Irving as well as Chris Godwin. Mike Evans underwent surgery in his broken collarbone. He could be back in 8 weeks. I'm Rich Ackerman.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. 1 minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Under the moon of the neon glow, bad take Boyle hosts the overnight show. He doesn't wear pants and refuses to yield. He's the #1 fan of Justin Fields. He said the Jets will win this year. Now turns around and says the future's unclear. Boyle makes picks, he's not afraid. I listen to his picks, then I Boyle is here with another network draft. Him and Pete the Body giving Samcher the shaft. Oh, bad take Boyle, the new hot take hack. Catch him every Wednesday, he's on here with Zach. That's the real deal, no time for fakers. Last year in the NBA playoffs, he picked the Lakers. So here comes Pat, he's no fool. He knows about tennis and pocket pool, but we tune in, we can't look away. Boyle's got bad takes to make your day.
Alrighty, that is the great Pat Boyle joining us right now on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. It's time to ask the pros. You, the listener, gets asked us a question brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Simply tweet your question at INF Sportsnet or at Zach Gelb using the hashtag Ask the Pros. Be listening later in the show. We might answer your question. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all your car care needs. Get guaranteed low prices and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. You can hear him on the Infinity Sports Network from 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern Time. He is wearing a Notre Dame hat. Notre Dame with a big victory up against USC. Jadarian Price with the 100-yard kickoff return for a little touchdown, a little tutty touchdown, as Notre Dame did defeat USC. So a happy Pat Boyle joins us right now. And Pat, I don't want to mush your team. I don't want to have a bad take. Notre Dame's going back to the playoff, in my opinion.
Notre Dame's going back to the playoffs, Zach. They've beaten the computers. They've beaten the probabilities. Everybody wants, Notre Dame's season is done after 2 games. Oh, wow, they lose to Marcel Reed and Texas A&M. What a bad loss. Yeah, how about the Aggies being in the top 5 in the country? How about Miami, before they lost on Friday night, being the #2 team in the country? Those losses, they don't look too bad, and they're by a combined 4 points. And what is Notre Dame going to do now the rest of the season? Notre Dame against the big bad SEC. Yeah, how about Arkansas beat you by 43? How about USC beat you comfortably by 10? Even a game where Notre Dame doesn't even play that well. Look, I still have my doubts about CJ Carr throwing the football, but like you said, Jeremiah, love me some Jeremiah. And Darian Price running the ball like a couple of madmen. And I know this offensive line, they just lost one of their captains, Billy Shroud, for a couple of weeks. But, hey, we surge forward. Marcus Freeman, once again, doing what Marcus Freeman does. May lose in September. The man does not lose October to December.
So here's the thing. I think Carr is a good quarterback. I know you have your questions. I think he's a good quarterback. I thought he got a little bit of a Ty Simpson treatment early on in the season where he was still playing well. They just weren't winning. I know that they didn't win the game against USC because of him. But they don't need him to be great, and he's better than what Riley Leonard was last year. And you have 2 great running backs where Jadarian Price could be a #1 on the majority of the other teams around the country, and you got a nice 1-2 punch. The big question for me still remains, what is the defense going to look like the rest of the way? And I do believe something that's not talked about enough, right? People just go, Al Golden's out. Chris Ash is in. The defense has been trash. It was going to be an adjustment for Notre Dame this year because Xavier Watts was one of the best players in the country the last 2 years. And when you lose not only him, but also his veteran and senior leadership, it's going to take a little bit to adjust. And you saw Notre Dame do enough last week up against a talented USC offense where I say, okay, I see the signs that make me believe they'll beat Boston College. Even though Navy's undefeated, they'll beat them. Pitts look like a different team, but they should beat them. Syracuse and Stanford, I would be surprised at this point if Notre Dame doesn't win out. And you know what? Notre Dame should win a playoff game this year. They should be able to win a playoff game this year in college football.
They should. And you're right. That defense did not look great against Texas A&M. They could not stop Marcel Reed. They didn't have a plan. Chris Ash did look like a stiff through the first 2 games. But you're really not going to get a true test because they're going to hold Boston College to probably 14 or less. They're going to hold Navy and Pitt, Syracuse, Stanford to 20 points or less. But then, when they go up against a great offense, or if they go up against a team that has a great offense, it's going to be a real question mark. Luckily they had Indiana at home last year in the first round, and then they played Penn State, who struggled, and they played Georgia with Gunnar Stockton, who was overwhelmed. So that's the thing. If Notre Dame plays another defensive-minded team, I got a feeling they could go to the semifinals or even all the way back to the championship game again. But if they play a team that's got an electric offense, then it could be a concern.
Who's the best team in the country in your opinion?
Best team in the country. I'm going to say, it's a tough one. I don't want to give the easy default Ohio State answer.
Oh, that's my answer. And I can't stand Ohio State, but I know that they haven't played really anybody yet. But with Tate and also Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sain being good enough in that defense, I understand, right? You look at their schedule the rest of the way. They play Penn State, Purdue, UCLA, Rutgers. We'll see if they can finally get past Michigan. They will have a little bit of an Oregon feel to them where they're undefeated in the regular season. I know last year Oregon had a big victory up against Penn State. So a little bit, or Ohio State, I think it was. So you look at them and you say, okay, I understand Ohio State really didn't play anybody, but they feel like they're going to be that team like Oregon was last year where they're undefeated heading into the playoff. A little bit of a difference, though. We just saw Ohio State win the national championship last year. We know Oregon obviously has never won a national championship.
I'm going to go with Alabama, honestly, Zach. Again,
good with me. I got a future ticket on them, plus 900, baby, to win it all.
I think you have to flush the loss to Florida State down the drain at this point because they just went through a mini gauntlet here against Georgia, Vandy, Mizzou, and Tennessee, and they came out on the right side on all of them. And that win on the road against Georgia in Athens, between the hedges, I thought Ty Simpson put together one of his greater performances of his career so far, of his young starting career, and he's been amazing, right? I mean, I think if he continues to progress, the ceiling for Ty Simpson, I think, is through the roof. And he's thrown to a couple of NFL receivers in Jeremy Bernard and Ryan Williams. I know Jam Miller hasn't looked 100%. He started the year hurt. If he's healthy, look out. This offense is capable of putting up 40 points in any playoff game. So I really do think that Ty Simpson, I have my serious doubts about him after week 1. I think you got to flush most of those at this point, and I think it would be quite the Kalen DeBoer comeback story. I know you love Kalen, to bounce all the way back and basically go unbeaten the rest of the way. Even if they do lose another game, they're still getting in, I think. So I'll go with Bama.
Oh yeah, it's just 2 losses or fewer. You are definitely in. Here's what I'll say about college football this year. Obviously, the Notre Dame story was awesome last year. There's no team in the ACC that I could see get into the national championship game. There's no team in the Big 12 that I could see getting to the national championship game. I hope when it's all said and done, and who knows with the bracket and how it's going to play on out, I hope we get the best team remaining from the Big 10 and the best team remaining from the SEC. I want to see the SEC from top to bottom is better than the Big 10 this year, but the Big 10 has won the last 2 national championships. They have played a game of tug of war the last few seasons on who's the best conference. I want to see the best that the Big 10 has to offer through the bracket and the best that the SEC has to offer through the bracket, and that's what I want to see in Florida coming up in the middle of January.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of who I want to see Signetti in Indiana.
Would be good.
That's who I want to see. I mean, forget about calling them a Cinderella story at this point is just disrespectful. They're just a wagon. They've turned into a wagon in 2 years, and Fernando Mendoza looks like he might have propelled his draft stock all the way up inside the top 5 of the draft. Their running backs, Black and Hemby, are tremendous, and their defense is so underrated. So underrated. The pressure they were able to get on Oregon all game long and really frustrate Dante Moore was tremendous. So, look, I would love to see Cignetti in Indiana against Notre Dame as a Notre Dame fan. And if it's not Notre Dame, I'd probably like to see Indiana and Georgia Tech and really just blow this whole thing of what you thought you knew right out of the water with Brent Key and Cignetti, the two hottest coaches right now in the country.
Who would you say right now gets the Florida job?
That's another great question. And I think if Brent Key wants it, I think he's got it. Right? I don't know. I still think your guy, Matty Rule, is getting the Penn State job no matter what he says. So I think then the Florida job becomes the next most coveted position. And I think Brent Key would be foolish not to take it. I know that he has spoken so highly about Georgia Tech, but let's be honest, the resources that Florida has versus G-Tech are not even close. So I'll go with Brent Key. As much as I know Yellow Jackets fans are going to hate me for that answer.
No, I actually said that Penn State should be interested in Brent Key. He was one of the names that I threw out there, and one of the stations in Atlanta was like, I don't see how that's happening, but they were quoting me in terms of Brent Key maybe getting the Penn State job. I think for Florida, it's going to – I don't think Lane's going there. I think if Lane's going to leave Ole Miss, it's probably for LSU whenever Brian Kelly gets run out of town there, whether that's this year or next year, probably – after next season, I would say. But if it's not Lane, I said this to Channing Crowder before the show, I feel like it's either then it's probably James Franklin would be the next person, and that would stabilize that program where they could go get 8 to 10 wins this season. I kind of feel like James is going to be the choice there at Florida.
Yeah, I mean, firing one uninspiring coach, and then hiring another. Scott Strickland, that would be a hell of a decision. But, again, like you said, at least James Franklin felt like up until these last couple of weeks, at least he could beat the bad schools. He could beat the bottom dwellers.
Yeah, and I don't think it would be a bad move by Florida if they did hire James Franklin, but we'll have to wait and see. All righty, that is Patty Boyle. You can listen to him tonight on the overnight show from 2 to 6 a.m. Eastern time right here on the Infinity Sports Network. Pat Boyle. What are you doing, an Irish car bomb today before the show wearing that Notre Dame Fighting Irish hat?
No, that'll be after this show. We'll have a couple of drinks. We'll get rowdy.
Honestly, I probably make you want to drink after doing these segments, so get bombed before your show. I think it would make for entertaining radio.
I don't know, man. Don't worry. Hey, Zach, by the way, I'm going to catch you with those picks, brother. You're lucky you went 2-1. I'm going to be like the Freeze right now in our week-long picks competition on my show.
Yeah.
I'm coming for you, Zach.
Let me get a fly swatter. Let's get a fly swatter. We'll swat this guy out of here. Guy talking all this crap. He's 4 games behind me. Finally has a winning week, and I also just match him. All right, there he is, the great Pat Boyle, joining us on the Infinity Sports Network. We will take a break. When we come on back, it is Take 5 Wednesday. Give me my top 5 teams in college football and the NFL. Next.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Yo, it is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. It is a Wednesday. We will get to my top 5 teams in the NFL and college football right now.
As the dust settles from last week's games, it's time to look at which teams are rising and which are falling.
And there's an interception.
Zach ranks his top 5 NFL and college football teams on this week's edition of Take 5, only on the Zach Gelb Show.
Alrighty, let's start things off in college football. I think college is easier than compared to the NFL and giving you top 5 teams right now. In at number 5, what's that coming down the tracks? It's the Mean Machine in the red and black. That's the Georgia Bulldogs. Go Dogs. I thought that they were going to lose that game. I loved Ole Miss plus the 7.5 points. I loved Ole Miss outright. For most of the game, it looked like I was going to be right. First quarter looked like I was going to be right. Second quarter was going to look like I was going to be right. And the third quarter, it definitely looked like I was going to be right. Then Georgia scored 17 points in the fourth quarter, while Ole Miss scored 0 points in the fourth quarter. And the Georgia Bulldogs just find a way to win up against Tennessee, another game they shouldn't have won, but they won the game in overtime. Their only loss of the season up against Alabama. Alabama, one of the best teams in the country. So Georgia's sitting in at 6-1. They are in at number 5. I am going to put A&M in at 4. A&M is undefeated, so you could say maybe, Zach, that they should be higher. I just look at who A&M has played. Their best victory of the season is up against Notre Dame, which is impressive. It was by 1 point on the road in South Bend. But after that, who has really A&M played? Now, before that, it was UTSA and Utah State. They beat Auburn. They beat Mississippi State. They beat Florida. They beat Arkansas. The rest of the schedule for A&M: LSU, Missouri, South Carolina, Samford, not Sanford, not Samter, not Sanford, Samford. And then they play Texas at the end of the season. A&M's going to the playoff. Quite frankly, A&M should be undefeated heading into the playoff. Maybe they do drop one, but A&M, I like their back. Obviously, you have some injuries as of late with Moss, but Owens has done a really good job filling on in and also carrying more of the load. You have the 2 wide receivers that transferred over, and Marcel Reed is a heck of a running back. So I will end up putting the Aggies of A&M in at number 4. We go to number 3. Roll Tide. That's right. I'm going with Alabama. Alabama lost week 1. And I said, you know what? That Ty Simpson isn't that bad. Everyone was crushing him after week 1. Since then, this Alabama's defense has made the opportunistic turnovers. I know Jam Miller's at 100%. You saw that last week. But when he is healthy, he's a big piece of them. But this has really been the Ty Simpson show with this heck of his wide receivers. And Kalen DeBoer is a heck of a coach. After losing to Florida State, they beat Louisiana Monroe, Wisconsin. All right. Expected. Then each and every week, you're just waiting for the other shoe to drop after they beat Georgia. They beat Vandy. They beat Missouri. They beat Tennessee. The schedule the rest of the way: South Carolina, LSU, Oklahoma, Eastern Illinois, and Auburn. Give me the Crimson Tide in at number 3. In at number 2, they had one of the best wins of the college football season. Some could argue the best win of the college football season, up against Oregon at Eugene, going into the Ducks' house and walking out with the big fat W. They've undefeated. I know it wasn't pretty to start up against Michigan State. Don't matter. Fernando Mendoza is playing maybe the best football in the country right now. Almost 1,800 passing yards, 21 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. Give me Indiana with Kurt Signetti in at number 2. And the number 1, I know they really haven't played anybody, but until somebody beats them, they are the defending champs. Julian Sand is good enough. The wide receivers in Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate are just studs, and this defense is absolutely positively incredible. So my top 5 teams in college football: the Dogs of Georgia in at number 5, the Aggies of A&M in at number 4, the Crimson Tide, the Alabama Crimson Tide in at number 3, the Hoosiers of Indiana in at 2, and then the Ohio State University Buckeyes in at number 1. Michael Samter, not the man that went to Samford. Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Or the man who lives in Stanford.
That is a tongue twister.
That is a tongue twister. All right. I have a few. There's not a ton to really argue with, but how about the Oregon Ducks?
Well, their biggest game of the season was Oregon. Was Indiana. And I know you could sit there and say, hey, if their only loss is Indiana, why are you going to kick them out? I then ask you, who did they beat? And I understand that they beat Penn State. Penn State, though, at the time was the third-ranked team in the country. Now they've fallen off. Oregon could definitely be there at the end of the season. Oregon should definitely be in the college football playoff. Oregon still may win the Big Ten, for crying out loud. Now, you're going to need Indiana or Ohio State to kind of fall off a little bit, because that's what it seems like the collision course is in the Big Ten. But outside of that loss to Indiana, where is Oregon going to lose the rest? They play Wisconsin, they play Iowa, they play Minnesota, they play USC, and they play Washington. So at worst, they're going to have 2 losses. They'll be in the college football playoff. I just am not ready to say that Oregon is elite. Can they be elite at the end of the season? I think they can. but they're not going to have a prove-it type of moment either until the Big Ten championship game, which they won last year and then lost in the first round of the playoff, or when they get into the college football playoff. So I don't think there's enough after the Indiana game to get me into the line of thinking that Oregon's going to be the fifth best team in the country.
All right, how about the highest-ranked undefeated team not in your top 5, Georgia Tech?
I'm kind of down on the ACC. And I understand the ACC is a good conference, but we're talking about Take 5 Wednesday, so that would say it's the top 5 teams in college football. Wasn't Miami's in everyone's top 5 last week? David Pollack even joined us, and he said the best team in the country is Miami. Well, Miami lost. Georgia Tech is a heck of a team, don't get me wrong. It was a little ugly early up against Duke. They just found a way to beat Wake Forest, right? They just found a way to beat a bad Clemson team. I think Georgia Tech is really good. I don't think they're great. And right now, I don't think there's a single team in the ACC for the next 2 years, this year and next year, and that's including the unknown of the transfer portal, that is going to be able to outlast and outrun in the gauntlet that is the 12-team college football playoff and not only get to the national championship, but then win it all. So that's why Georgia Tech, which I have a lot of respect for them. I like Brent Key. I like Haynes King. Haynes King is maybe my favorite player in the country in college football, but I just don't think that they are a top 5 team in college football.
All right, well, then let's look within that same conference. Last week, David Pollack called them the best team. Despite 4 picks, they only lost by 3 points. How about Miami?
Well, they lost. So everything that I just said just applies in the ACC for Miami, and they lost to Louisville when they were, a 13.5-point favorite. Miami has a ton of talent. Miami can still win the ACC. Miami can still win the playoff. But once again, I don't think a team from the ACC is worthy of being in the top 5.
All right, well, what about my conference, the Big 12? BYU is in the top 15, and they are also undefeated.
So BYU I thought long and hard about. But I sat there and I said to myself, if BYU played Georgia, who was my 5th team, who would win? And I said the Dogs of Georgia. I liked what BYU did up against Utah. I bet them last week plus 3.5 points. Sorry if that is not allowed out there. But I look at that. Outside of Utah, who has BYU played? Portland State, Stanford, not Samford, not Samter, Stanford, East Carolina, Colorado, West Virginia, and Arizona. They do play Texas Tech later on in a few weeks from now. But I just don't think the schedule is strong enough. And to my point about the ACC, I don't think the Big 12 or the ACC could win a national championship in the next 2 seasons. Anyone else?
That's all I got. There's really not a lot of other teams you can argue with right now.
Okay, let's get to the NFL. Whew. This is difficult. Really difficult. Should I go 1 through 5 in the NFL, or should I go 5 through 1? How do you think I should do this order?
I still like 5 through 1 because there's no clear number 1 team. So I'm curious to see who you're going to have up there.
I'm going to put the Rams in at 5. The reason I put the Rams in at 5, and I don't love their product, Stafford threw 5 touchdowns last week. I think Kyron Williams will get going. Devontae Adams had 3 touchdowns. Whenever Puka Nacua gets back, we know he's a force to be reckoned with. But I like their defense. And defense, I know we're all focused on offense, but defense, I think, is going to be the difference this year, especially when all these teams are so jammed up. And they got a really good defense with the LA Rams. And you look at their 2 losses. They blew a game to the Eagles in Philadelphia, and then they lost on a short week to the 49ers. There's really no shame. I get it, like how they lost to Philly is ugly, but if you told me before the start of the season that they would just lose to Philly and they would lose on a short week to the Niners, we wouldn't be crushing them. So I'm going to say that the Rams are in at number 5. In at number 4, I'm going to go with the team that beat the LA Rams just a few weeks ago on Thursday Night Football, and that's the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners are the walking wounded. The 49ers have been decimated with injuries, and all this team does is just keep on winning and winning and winning, and I get it. They lost 26-21 to the Jaguars. They lost 30-19 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But now this team is sitting there at 5-2 with all their injuries. Eventually, you just got to reward a team for winning, so that's what I'm going to do with the San Francisco 49ers. In at number 3, I'm going with the Detroit Lions. I love that Lions performance up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Detroit Lions, they did lose that game. to the Kansas City Chiefs. If a few things go differently early, I think that game is different, and they lost week 1 to the Green Bay Packers. That Lions defense with Kelvin Shepard, the defensive coordinator, they were flying around last week. Jahmyr Gibbs is really taking that next step this year, and Jared Goff just got to manage the game. I love me some Dan Campbell, so I'm putting the Lions in at number 3. In at number 2, I know their record may not be the prettiest. I know their record may not be the best, but that team is back. That team has Rashee Rice back. That team has maybe the MVP of the NFL in Patrick Mahomes. And I'm looking at the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm saying, you had a chance to get them. They were there. They were 0-2. Then they were 2-2. Then they lose to the Jaguars. They're 2-3. Carlos with the K. He is doing his best impersonation of Adonai Mitchell. Right? He's dropping the ball before he puts the ball in the end zone, or DeMarcado with the Arizona Cardinals. Sorry, Samter, for the 17 teams that you root for. But he was celebrating Carlos with the K's crappy take. Right? Carlos with the K had a crappy take that the Chiefs would miss the playoffs. Now the Chiefs are 4-3. They just smothered the Raiders the week prior to that. They beat the Lions. So they're at 4-3. They'll beat the Commanders probably coming up on Monday Night Football. So give me the Chiefs in at number 2. And then how about this?
Wait, hold on a second.
Yes.
There's a team that you haven't mentioned yet. They can't be your number 1 team. The team that I'm thinking of, are they really your number 1 team?
Do they have 6 wins?
Yes.
Yeah, it's Indianapolis Colts.
What?
It is. They're 6-1. They just smothered the Chargers. Daniel Jones is playing good football. Jonathan Taylor right now is playing as if he's the best running back in the NFL. Now, there are some concerns with the defense the last few weeks. There's no doubt about it. But this is a week-by-week league. This is a week-by-week segment. The Indianapolis Colts right now are the best team in football. And I don't think that's crazy to say. Right? Like, you look at the standings. Does anyone else have 6 wins in the NFL season? Yes or no?
Nope.
Okay. So they're the number 1. They're in the number 1 spot.
I mean, I'm not critiquing just the fact of hearing anybody say the Colts are the best team in the NFL with Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones. Like, if you told me before the season that the Colts were the best team in the NFL,
I would say you're sniffing glue.
Or I would have said Anthony Richardson really just came into his own.
Right.
Right? There's no way I would have liked number 1 team in the NFL with Daniel Indiana Jones.
Yeah. So Rams 5, 49ers 4, Lions 3, Chiefs 2, Colts 1. I'll tell you, the NFL, when we do speak now, forever hold your peace, there's so many teams that you can make the case for. I think there's one in particular that I felt the worst about that I left off my list. Let's see if you get it.
Well, there's 8 teams I have here. I don't know if we can get to all of them. There's only one other team besides the Colts that has only 1 loss, and that's the Green Bay Packers.
That was the team that I struggled with the most here. So I'll tell you why I didn't put Green Bay in there. I didn't love how they looked up against the Cardinals. I didn't love how they looked up against the Bengals. I know they beat the Lions at the beginning of the season. They allowed 13 points in the 4th quarter to Cleveland Browns, and then they also tied the Dallas Cowboys. I know that Micah had 3 sacks last week. There's just something with the Packers right now that I just can't get behind them and get on board and say to myself, okay, I think that's a great team. They're good. They'll be in the playoffs. They got to do more, and they got to win me over. And we'll see them on Sunday Night Football on NBC. Yeah. And also, you listen to the game on Westwood One. Our friends at Westwood One. We love Westwood One. You could see the Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers this weekend. So I got to see more from the Packers.
All right. I'm surprised that this isn't the team that you were really battling over. This is your team.
Yeah.
The New England Patriots.
Well, contrary to popular belief, I'm not a homer. I love me the Patriots. The Patriots are beating up on some bad football teams. You got to take care of business. Drake May. Ooh, I love me some Drake May. I really like me some Drake May. And I look at the defense. The defense is playing better. The run game, Ramondre Stevenson's good. I need to see more out of Travion Henderson. And Kayshon Bouttie's really becoming a good player. But I don't think, like, the Pats are going to be in the playoffs this year. There's no doubt about that in my mind as long as Drake May stays healthy. I just don't know how much of a player they're going to be in the postseason. They're a year ahead, I think, of the plan. They are good. They are a team now that I enjoy watching each and every week. I can't say that they're amongst the NFL elite, though, right now. I will even be objective there.
All right, I know we talked about them a little bit before. Not the most impressive wins, but how about the Broncos?
What they did last week, even though it was a tremendously slow start, it's still impressive when you're able to score that many points in the fourth quarter and the margin was that big. Their defense is sensational. I'm just not a believer in the offense right now. And I know they had the 2 losses early in the season to the Colts where they could have won that with the whole leverage penalty. And then they lost to the Chargers. But after that, all right, they come on back against the Eagles. Impressive. They barely beat the Jets, and they had to come from behind to beat the Giants. I just got to see more from the Broncos before I start thinking that they go win multiple playoff games this year.
All right, we're talking about the defending champions. I know they've had some issues, but they looked really good this past week, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I don't want to celebrate too early. They were playing a Vikings team that had Carson Wentz at quarterback.
But Wentz has looked okay.
Oh, stop it. He had one good game, then after that, he's been trash. Trash. He even said he was trash last week. So your version of okay is a little bit different than my version of okay. But anyway, Hurts had a perfect passer rating. Devontae Smith went off. A.J. Brown went off. Good start.
Brandon Graham.
And now he's coming back. Going to be rusty. You know, old fella, get the cane and limp on into the facility. But they got a stretch where they will avenge the loss to the Giants this week. There's no doubt about that in my mind. They will beat the Giants. Then they play the Packers and the Lions. I just want to wait until after the Packers and the Lions to see how we're talking about the Eagles. They have not won me over yet. They have the talent, but now they got to consistently do it, which they haven't really done this season.
All right, how about a team that we had in the top 5 last week, even though they lost, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
So I thought about keeping them in at 5 even after the loss. The injuries, though, are really a lot now. Mike Evans now going to be out long term. Emeka Egbuka played, but clearly he wasn't 100%. Bucky Irving has been out. Baker Mayfield is a stud, but I take a glance at that football team. You just wonder how many more injuries can they withstand before you start to have that team go on a little bit of a downfall. Now, they do play the Saints this week. You think they should win. Then after that, their schedule does pick up in intensity a little bit with the Patriots, the Bills, and the Rams.
Now, you have 2 NFC West teams in there, in the Rams and the Niners, but you're missing the other 5-2 team in the West, and that's the Seahawks.
I struggled with that one. I really did, because I wanted to put the Seahawks in there, but I only had one spot left. And what it came down to me was that I just think that the Rams, even with their defense, right, the Rams and the Seahawks defense being so good, and the Seahawks defense just being like tremendous, long-term I trust the offense of the Rams more than I do trust the offense of the Seattle Seahawks, even though Jackson Smith-Njigba is phenomenal.
All right, 2 more teams real quick. Out of sight, out of mind because of they were coming off the bye. I know they've lost 2 straight, but how about the Bills?
The vibe in that locker room concerns me a little bit. That seemed like a dejected football team after that loss to the Atlanta Falcons. I can't put the Bills in the top 5 again until they overtake the Patriots in the AFC East. That's what I'll say for my standard for the Buffalo Bills. But could they get there by the end of the season? Absolutely. They have the talent. I just think they're asking Josh Allen to do too much right now. And the defense stinks.
Yeah. Well, I mean, listen, hopefully the bye week, well, not hopefully because
screw
the Bills, but yeah. And then last one for me, the only team on a 4-game win streak in the NFC right now is the Chicago Bears. How about them?
All right, we'll take a time out here. No, I'm just kidding.
And I know how much you love Ben Johnson.
I don't like Ben Johnson. I'll give him credit, though. The last 4 weeks, he's done a good job. They lost to the Vikings and the Lions. They beat a bad Cowboys defense. They were just lucky to survive up against the Raiders. They beat a banged-up Commanders team, and then they beat the Saints. You can't get picky. You cannot get picky with how the Bears win. Totally get that. They're not in a position to do that. But to say they're a top 5 team after beating those 4 teams, that's a no for me. So my top 5 teams in the NFL, Colts, Chiefs, Lions, 49ers, and Rams in that order. And then for college football, Ohio State, Indiana, Bama, A&M, and Georgia. All righty, we'll take a break here on the Zach Gelb Show right here on the Infinity Sports Network. When we return, Santa said I don't like Ben Johnson. That is true. I am not going to tell you, though, why I don't like Ben Johnson on the other side. I will tell you about another coach that is really, and I mean really annoying me, and it's getting worse by the day. This is not just a one-off thing. This is getting worse by the day. where it's content after content after content over the incompetence of this football coach who is just not ready to be a head coach. Coming on back. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season, like Jalen Brunson. Download DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB, G-E-L-B. You could bet $5 and you get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Budo Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per wager tax may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it is lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets that are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass is subject to blackouts and other restrictions and auto-renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer valid until November 16th, 2025.
You're in a 4-minute break. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
All righty, let's get to this stunad. That is Aaron Glenn. We'll start you off with the owner of the Jets, Woody Johnson, just to give you context of the situation here, so you could just understand that I'm not bleeping crazy. This was Woody Johnson yesterday just laying into Justin Fields, the quarterback of the Jets.
Well, it looks like he's turning around parts of it. You know, it's hard when you have a quarterback with, with a rating that we got. You know, I mean, he has the ability, but something just is not jiving. But if you look at any head coach with a quarterback like that, you're going to see similar results if you go across the league. You have to play consistently with, at that position, and that's what we're going to try to do for the remainder of the season.
So what gives you hope then?
I just think defense, special teams are doing better. The defense is pretty good. And if we can just complete a pass, it would look good. We got to complete some passes. You got to convince them that you can do something.
So that is, why do you still believe in Aaron Glenn? And he basically said, hey, defense, special teams doing well. The quarterback blows. He sucks. He's horrible. He can't even complete a pass. So let me just ask you guys a question. And I'll start off with a statement, then I'll give you a question. The statement is this. I don't think Woody Johnson is wrong in his assessment of only the quarterback. But you can't say that as the owner. So my question is this. The Jets play the Bengals this weekend. When your owner publicly just trashes the quarterback and makes him seem as if he's an absolute bum, you would anticipate, Stu and Samter, that Tyrod Taylor will be starting this week, especially when last week Justin Fields, even though his coach said he wasn't going to do it, he got benched in the second half and Tyrod Taylor was thrown into the fire. So, Stu, who do you think started at quarterback this weekend for the JTS Jets?
I think it'll be Taylor.
Okay, Samter, I would assume that you are a logical man, and I don't know, that could be an assumption. I could be making an ass out of you and me. You do look good today, though, Samter. Samter's looking young today. Clean shaven, got the hair flipped up. You look like you're either you look like you're posing for a fraternity photo, kind of. That's what I think you're posing for right now.
Well, thank you very much. I'm glad fraternity was what came out. Not like a school picture, not like a motley shoot.
But then I thought that was just that was a little mean because you're an older guy, so I don't know if I could say.
I have a youthful look.
You do.
All right. I don't look my age.
Just take the compliment.
Yeah, I don't look almost 50.
Mm-hmm. If you give a mouse a cookie, they want a glass of milk, give you a compliment. You're like, oh, I want more compliments.
Hold on, I think you're conflating like multiple different sayings there. Give a mouse a cookie, he wants a glass of milk?
Yeah, it's a book. If you give a mouse a cookie, he wants a glass of milk.
Huh.
That means like you give them something, they're not happy with what they get because they want more. They're greedy.
See, I always give a mouse a piece of cheese and he wants the whole thing or something.
No, there's a childhood book. I read it when I was a kid, and I just read it to my niece about 3 or 4 weekends ago. I don't know, more than that, because we're in, week 7 of the NFL season, or now week 8. So at some point in the summer, I read to my niece the great book, Give a Mouse a Cookie, Wants a Glass of Milk. By the way, Moist Mike, if you're listening, can we get Samter on the mouse with the glass of milk on the book title? It is a very, very popular children's book. You've really never heard that?
I have not heard of the book. I've always just heard, give a mouse a crumb. He's going to ask for, the whole dish or something like that.
The name of the book is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie.
Yeah.
And then in the book, it's like, he'll want a glass of milk. You should read that to your daughter. It's a very good book for children. I think it's a very good book.
Well, the problem is she already wants the cookie, the milk, the batons, and
I'm
the
just saying,
animal crackers, and the ice cream.
Just trust me. I'm not one to be giving parental advice because I don't have any kids that I know of. But I would say that's a good book to read to someone that's like 2.5 years old.
All right.
Good Night Moon? You ever read Good Night Moon?
100 times.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, do you think that Tyrod Taylor should be starting at quarterback for the Jets this weekend based off what you heard from Woody Johnson?
I don't think that he should be starting at quarterback, but I think he will be starting at quarterback.
Now, here is Aaron Glenn, right? This genius on Woody Johnson's comments. Listen up to Aaron Glenn.
Woody made his position pretty clear yesterday with the comments.
Yep.
Does that impact, I mean, we know how he feels about Justin. Clearly, he does not want him playing. But does that impact your...
What made you say, did he say that?
Well, he was very critical of him. So
what did he say?
He said he couldn't complete a pass.
Did that say he doesn't like the quarterback?
He said...
Did that say does quarterback's not playing?
No. But
no, he said...
How that his opinion impact your decision when your owner is basically stating that he doesn't think Justin Fields is getting the job.
Well, I said before that Woody puts that in my hand as far as who plays. And I don't see that changing. He trusts me to make that decision. Again, he made a comment, and he has every right to his comment. And again, that comment was actually said by a number of guys, including our quarterback, as far as the efficiency of how we play. And we're not going to fight that. We understand that. We have to get better. We do. But I don't think there's anywhere in that comment where he said he doesn't like Justin. I don't think there's anywhere in that comment where he says that Justin's just, I don't think so. Yes, is he upset that, we haven't completed a pass as far as what you just said he said? I didn't even read it, so I don't know. That's what he says. But overall, we're on the same page when it comes to that.
I just took a deep breath. I'm going to try to not yell here. This guy, Aaron Glenn, as a football coach, he's a fake tough guy. I'm well understanding that he could kick my ass if he was sitting right next to me. And he is jacked. But he is a fake tough guy. He is trying to present something that is not reality. And he thinks he's the smartest guy in the room when he is at the podium and he's playing all these petulant, cute little games with the media. And guess what? No one is laughing at you right now, Aaron Glenn, and sitting there and saying, oh, your jokes are awesome. They're laughing at your football team. And they're laughing at the circus that you are leading right now as the head football coach of the New York Jets, the 0-7 New York Jets. A few weeks ago, you lambasted a reporter for even suggesting a quarterback change. Then guess what you did this weekend? You made a change at the quarterback. And now your owner just trashes the quarterback. Oh, yeah, Woody never said that he didn't like him. What? He said he can't even complete a pass. He said the reason why you're failing right now is because of the quarterback play. That would be like, oh, we're failing as a show. You know what? It would only be great if Stu could press this button or Stu could do this more on time. And then someone goes, oh, hey, Zach, do you like Stu? Oh, yeah, I love Stu. Does it sound like I like Stu? I do like Stu. But in this context, you get the point. This is what Aaron Glenn does. He sucks on the sideline right now as a head coach. He is worse at the podium. He is a big, fat embarrassment and a joke at the podium because he tries to be the smartest guy in the room. He's trying to tell you these aren't the same old Jets. We are 7 weeks into this season. The Jets are 0-7, and their play on the football field isn't even the most embarrassing thing. It's this coach week after week at the podium. That's what it is. What is going on in the AFC East? Mike McDaniel is a joke at the podium. Aaron Glenn is a joke at the podium. These two guys, get new PR people or change your damn mentality because McDaniel's already a dead man walking. And Aaron Glenn, you'll be lucky to make it to next season at this rate. Oh, yeah, the owner, I never said he didn't like him. What do we do? Now, here's the further continuation of the jackassery of this Aaron Glenn tenure. Aaron Glenn is not going to announce who's going to be starting at quarterback this week. And he's not doing it right. Woody Johnson basically already told you it was going to be Tyrod Taylor without even saying it because he just trashed Justin Fields. But Aaron Glenn, he is not going to give the Cincinnati Bengals a competitive advantage. Go ahead.
Who's your quarterback, baby?
We will have a quarterback on Sunday. I will tell you that.
You're not going to announce who the starter is?
I wouldn't want to give them a competitive advantage when I have that opportunity. But we will have a quarterback.
The list was long. So for
Yeah.
Tyrod, did you say what his day today?
Yes.
What is he dealing with?
He's dealing with a knee. It's something that he had before.
You know who your starting quarterback is going to be. You are just not announcing it. So it isn't like this week is a competition where you're going to have.
I know who the starting quarterback's going to be.
Okay, you're just not telling me.
Yeah.
The only way Tyrod Taylor doesn't play this weekend is if he's not healthy. It's the only way. If he physically can't go. And if that's the case, Aaron Glenn, you're asking to get fired. Because the owner clearly doesn't want it to be Justin Fields. But, it's his decision, right? That's another thing that I hate about Aaron Glenn. It's almost Hugh Jackson like on Hard Knocks. I got to let everyone know I'm in charge. It's my decision. Aaron Glenn, you have been a buffoon as the head football coach of the New York Jets. And 0-7's 0-7. It's tough to make it worse at the podium. And he just keeps on digging his grave. It is disgusting how that guy sits there at the podium and gives those answers. It is almost as if he's doing how to get fired for 101. Like 101 how to get fired. It's Larry David couldn't even write that script for Curb Your Enthusiasm. All righty, we'll take a timeout. Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. We'll get to what we wanted to get to in this segment. I was going to go around the room here and give me a coach that you don't like right now. You know what, real quickly, Stu, who's a coach that you don't like right now? We'll just take care of this real quickly.
I'm going to go Ben Johnson. I know they're 4-2. Some of the wins just haven't been too impressive, and I know you've been on this boat pretty much all season, even before the season. Just a lot of arrogance for someone who hasn't done really much of anything as a head coach in the league.
Did you type the wrong answer here, Samter?
Nope.
I'm going to call you Sam Turd then. Go ahead, Sam Turd. Who's your coach?
You want to call out my coach? I got your coach. Talk about fake tough guys. Mike Vrabel.
He would kick your ass.
So?
In a second. He would sneeze and you would die.
Hey, if I win the Super Bowl, I'm going to cut off my...
You're Johnson.
The dude,
He's
Bill Belichick is welcome here. This is a dude who felt spurned by Bill Belichick because he never got hired by the GOAT Bill Belichick.
That's not true. He rejected Bill.
Sure.
Bill tried to hire me and went to Ohio State.
This is a guy who learned everything he needed to learn from Bill Belichick, and yet he tries to act like he's this great coach, and Bill Belichick is this scrub. Mike Vrabel is nothing more than just a leech. I can't stand the dude. He's so fake. He's so nonsense. I'm such a tough guy. I'm such a big guy. He's nothing. He sucks. Guy got fired in Tennessee. Yes. If you get fired in Tennessee, you suck.
Timeout. Would you take your team ever getting to an AFC Championship game in the near future?
I've been to three in my lifetime.
Would you take your team getting to an AFC Championship game in the near future?
Sure.
Mike Vrabel took Tennessee with Ryan Tannehill to the AFC Championship.
Rex Ryan took the Jets to 2 straight AFC title games with Mark Sanchez.
Yes, Rex Ryan was a good coach in the NFL. I've never said he wasn't a good coach. Mike Vrabel is 5-2 with a team that you said this offseason had no chance of making the playoffs and was going to suck. You are a Patriot hater. It is despicable. It will not be tolerated. And the only answer out of your mouth, if you're going to take an AFC East coach and Aaron Glenn's off the table, should have been Mike McDaniel. Let's get an update in. We got to bring some respectability back to this network, right? Here is the Act Man, Rich Ackerman. He'll do that right now.
Infinity Sports Network. Sports Flash.
Well, I sure hope somebody's coming in next. This report is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance, who protects small businesses with affordable coverage options. Quote today at progressivecommercial.com. With Jason Tatum out, the Eastern Conference is wide open. 2 teams that figure to be among the leading contenders to win the East meet right off the bat. The Knicks host the Cavaliers to open the season. Cleveland won its first 15 games last year, but fell short of its ultimate goal. Kenny Atkinson is diffusing expectations and going with the adage, one day at a time.
Never set a goal, hey, let's start out 15-0 or so right off the bat, my expectations are, I told them today, you come in the gym, we've got 20 days of camp, we got 169 days to get better leading up to the playoffs, right? Today's the day we lock in.
Cooper Flagg makes his NBA debut. The top pick overall will face another former top pick when the Mavericks host the Spurs. Jaden Daniels will reportedly sit out due to his hamstring, and Marcus Mariota will get the start against the Chiefs. Lamar Jackson back at Ravens practice today on a limited basis, and Tony Vitello leaving Tennessee to make the jump into the major leagues as manager of the Giants. He's the first person to go from the college ranks to the big leagues without any prior experience. I'm Rich Acker.
The Infinity Sports Network is on your smart speaker. All you have to say is, play Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. 45 seconds remaining. Seconds remaining. Seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You're listening to the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network.
This Thursday night football preview is sponsored by Square. More than 4 million neighborhood businesses run on Square. To learn more, go to square.com or just stop by your favorite local business. See you in the neighborhood. Square. Tomorrow night, the 3-3 Vikings visit the 4-3 Chargers. Justin Herbert leads the way for LA with 1,913 yards, 13 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. It's taking over for the injured J.J. McCarthy. On the other hand, Carson Wentz is thrown for 1,072 yards with just 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions. Going around the room here, let's do an NFL rookie that you've been impressed with and an NFL rookie that you've been disappointed with, and then let's just go college football player you've been impressed with and a college football player you've been disappointed with. Let's start in the NFL. Rookies first. Impressed, I'm going Tyler Warren. This dude now, I thought he was a top 5 player in the draft, entering the NFL draft over in April, but what he's been able to do so far to start his young career with Daniel Jones obviously as his quarterback, that dude's just a heck of a football player. You could use him in multiple different spots. Obviously, what he does is a blocking tight end. Obviously, what he does is a receiving tight end. Then you can line him up out of the backfield as well, especially when you get down in those 4th and short or 3rd and short scenarios or even inside the 5-yard line. Tyler Warren, I thought the world of him to begin with, but I'm very impressed with what he's been able to do on his young career so far. Samter?
I am going to go with Emeka Egbuka. I know he's been hurt. I know he's been struggling with some injuries, and now there's more injuries on that offense. But the dude had, 5 straight games to start his career with a touchdown. He's just an absolute beast. Just another one of those Ohio State, wide receiver receivers who's just lighting up the league.
Yeah, and you look at him, he's 527 receiving yards. It's best for 7th in the league right now, and he's tied for a 5th in terms of receiving touchdowns with 5 receiving touchdowns. So, Stu, you know what it's like to have a rookie be at the top of the receiving list or near the top of the receiving list, whether it's receptions or yards or touchdowns, with some of the numbers that Brock Bowers did put up last year. Who's your player, though?
My player is Carson Schlesinger, the Browns linebacker. They got him in the 2nd round out of UCLA, and he's really had a nice season with 59 tackles, just the 1 sack, but he's been kind of a tackling machine, 2 double-digit tackle games for Schlesinger.
You know what's interesting? I just saw ML Football, one of the aggregators. It's funny, like you're talking about this, and then something pops up. If they had to redraft the 2025 NFL draft, these are what the picks would be. Jackson Dart would go 1 to the Tennessee Titans. Abdul Carter would go 2 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Cam Ward would go 3 to the Giants. Will Campbell would still go 4th to the Patriots. Emeka Egbuka would go 5th to the Browns. Tyler Warren would go 6th to the Raiders. So you have Warren, Bowers, and Mayer.
Okay.
Jahad Campbell goes 7th to the Jets. Tedatory McMillan, who already did go 8th to the Panthers, would stay with the Panthers. Will Johnson would go 9 to the Saints, and then Quinshon Junkins would go 10th to the Bears. So no Travis Hunter on that list. All righty, someone that you're disappointed with, I'm going to go with Travion Henderson. He's just not getting on the field right now. And I think that a big reason because of that is because of his inability to pass block. But I thought that player was really going to pop off for the Pats in year 1, especially after what he did in the preseason. I've been disappointed with Travion Henderson of my New England Patriots. Samter, an NFL rookie who has been disappointed to you so far.
I am going to go with the guy who did go number 1 at quarterback. It's Cam Ward. I love Cam. I want Cam to succeed. The dude has just looked awful. And I know a lot of it's the coaching, and I know a lot of it's the weapons, but he has really, outside of that second half, really the fourth quarter against the Cardinals with that big comeback, he's just not looked good, and he's not looked comfortable, and he does not look like, right now, does not look like an NFL quarterback.
You know what's crazy? He has not had, and I don't know where I stand on Cam Ward, because to Samter's point, the coaching stinks, and the players around him stink. He has not had a multi-touchdown game, though. Even when you factor in passing touchdowns with rushing touchdowns. He has no rushing touchdowns in his career, and the most passing touchdowns he's thrown in a game has been 1. That's kind of crazy. So, Stu, who'd you pick here?
I'm going to go Travis Hunter, and he has been horrible. He has 28 catches, 298 yards receiving, got that first touchdown finally on Sunday morning, but for what we were expecting him to be, I think so far on both sides of the ball, he's been a disappointment.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I don't think he's been bad, but I thought we would be talking about him each and every week, and it would be so fun to watch, and this would be so special. It just doesn't feel special right now with Travis Hunter. All right, let's get to a college football player we're impressed with this season. For me, it's Ty Simpson. You got the standard at Alabama. You lose week 1. He's been flawless ever since. I don't even think he was that bad in week 1 up against Florida State. He's closing in on 2,000 passing yards, 1,931. He has 18 touchdowns to only 1 interception. Big wins after big wins each and every week, and also has 2 rushing touchdowns. Ty Simpson is a player that I am impressed by in college football. Samter?
I'm going to go with the guy that nobody thought about and who's probably the leader right now for the Heisman. That's Fernando Mendoza for the undefeated number 2 Indiana Hoosiers. I had no idea about the dude, didn't know much about him before the season, and now here he is about to potentially win the Heisman.
Stu?
I'm going to go with Sawyer Robertson, the Baylor quarterback. He still leads the country in touchdowns with 21. He has 2,300 yards, and I know they've lost a couple of games, but he still had a really nice season for himself.
Yeah, no, he's been very good, but because of the fact that they already have 3 losses, I just was not expecting you to say that. All righty, player in college football we've been disappointed with, Garrett Nussmeier. That offense at LSU right now is just really, really, really ugly, and Nussmeier had a team that people thought could make the college football playoff this year, and that is not going to happen in my estimation for the Tiger family over at LSU. They already have 2 losses, and I think that they will suffer another one, if not more, by the end of the season with A&M and Alabama coming up as their next 2 opponents. Samter?
I mean, I think the most disappointing name in maybe all of sports over the last decade, Archer Manning, came in with the most hype of anyone with the last name of Manning. He has been terrible. Every time I look at the box score at halftime, he's got like 70 yards passing. The offense is terrible. He just looks really, really bad.
Yeah, I thought he had a solid moment at Oklahoma. It should be up against Red River against Oklahoma, but still the numbers weren't great there. He just had good command. That's a good one, obviously.
Mine is DJ Lagway. 9 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. Florida's been horrible.
Yeah, and I guess we could just talk about a lot of players at Clemson, too. And Drew Aller, too. He got hurt, so I feel bad doing that. Anyway, Langston Patterson, senior captain, linebacker at Vanderbilt. The Commodores up to 10th in the country. He's going to join us when we come on back.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
To infinity and beyond.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show. Here's your host, Zach Gelb.
All right, we continue. It is the Zach Gelb Show, coast to coast on the Infinity Sports Network. What a win last weekend for Vanderbilt. They're up to rank 10th in the country. They got a big game this weekend with Missouri. Langston Patterson does a phenomenal job as a senior linebacker and team captain for the program, and he's kind enough to join the Zach Gelb Show right now. Langston, first and foremost, congratulations on the victory. Appreciate you doing this, and how you been?
Yes, sir. Been awesome. Been blessed. Just happy to be here.
Now, I was only able to watch it on television. Obviously, you were playing in the contest. What was that environment like this past Saturday? Because it looked awesome from my couch.
Yeah, it was awesome. We were all excited about the Vandy showing out on Saturday. And, Vanderbilt has a cool atmosphere. You got some other teams' fans too, and so every play's a big play, and every play someone's cheering. So it's certainly a fun atmosphere and something that was awesome to be a part of.
It's incredible to see the transformation of Vanderbilt football the last 2 years. I remember taking a trip down to Nashville back in 2014. I went to Temple, and Temple beat Vanderbilt by 30 points, and it was like such a stunning victory for us. And to see where you guys have really grown this program in the last 2 years, you being a leader, you being such an important presence on this turnaround, just how do you kind of look back, even though you're focused on the now, of where this program has really gone the last season and a half?
Yeah, honestly, just so grateful for where we are now. I mean, as you said, the best, all the way from 2014, but the 4 years I've been here has been a grind. Coming here with Coach Lee, first recruiting class, had a decent year, and then to take a big step back the second year, that was a time where it was, decision time, whether to dig in or, a lot of people went and looked at other places and stuff, but I'm a Vanderbilt guy. I love Vanderbilt. I love Nashville. This is where I'm from. And I signed up for that. I signed up to turn this place around. And I wasn't going to leave it for anything. This is where I want to be. And I had the belief and the vision in my mind. And I knew where we could get. And I'm just grateful that we're here now.
You talk about digging deep. You know how low it was for this program. Last year, you guys finally found some gold, but you could get complacent when that happens, when everyone starts giving you praise. We've now seen so far a better version this year than what we saw last year. Why was this team, after getting a little bit of some success and a taste of that success, why were they able to dig even deeper?
Yeah, we took that mindset of getting 1% better every day. From the first year I was here to the second year, you saw the 5-7 to the 2-10 team. And that's kind of the mentality that you're referring to of it could go either way. And that's something we focused on big in the off season. Nothing against the Birmingham Bowl. It was an awesome time, but Coach Lee was like, do we want to go to the Birmingham Bowl again, or do we want to be, national champions, playing in the playoffs and stuff like that? Because we were as close to 2-10 as we were to 10-2. 6-6. Everyone looked at it and patted us on the back and was like, great year. But for us, it was a disappointment. Those last 3 games, besides the bowl game, were a major disappointment to us. We had so much to look ahead of, in the season being 6-3, and to drop those 3 and, not play very well in any of those games. We're geared up this offseason to be playing big-time football and playing our best football in November. And that's something that was really important to us, and just having that 1% better everyday mentality of we have our goals, we know where we want to get, and last year wasn't good enough, and we got to push forward.
Langston Patterson here with us. I've been doing this enough now. Usually when a coach starts to get on the hot seat and people are counting him out, especially in the college game, that's usually it for the coach. And that's where your coach Clark Lee was 3 years ago. Now the feel is a whole lot different. You've been there through the tough times. You believed in him right away. Why is he the right guy? I know it's a school, but why is he the right guy for this university?
Yeah, and it's not even because of the school. That just brings a little bit more probably joy to him that he's been able to help turn around his alma mater. But, just at Notre Dame when he was recruiting me, I was blessed to go to a private school in Nashville who just had great coaches that poured into you and, cared more about you as a man than they did as a player. And it wasn't transactional. And that's what you see a lot, at the college level. It's your job. That's what you do. People's families depend on it. And so you just see coaches that don't really care about their players. All they are about themselves. And early on when Coach Lee was recruiting me to Notre Dame, that's what I noticed. I noticed that he wasn't like everybody else. He really cared about me, and it felt like his linebacker room that he coached there was a family. And I was like, that's someone that I want to go play for. And then
go ahead.
When he came here, it was just all about him putting together a good staff that just had a vision, had belief that they could turn it around. And I'm so glad I'd made the choice that I did, and I'd do anything for that guy.
Langston Patterson here with us. It's an incredible answer, but I think it's a lot that people could learn from, because There are kids that are getting ready to go to college right now, and college football is an accepted business now with the transfer portal and name, image, and likeness. And not everyone is going to find one place and stay there for 4 or 5 years. I get that. But what do you think people can really learn from your story? Because there were definitely opportunities for maybe you to tap out and you go somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, after my sophomore year, I had a good year. Vandy was at an all-time low, and a bunch of people were trying to come get me or whatever. But for me, it was all about the belief in the mission in this program. And I knew, like, this is what I had envisioned for Vanderbilt. And, there's no better school than Vanderbilt. It's in Nashville, great education, great coaches. We have a championship culture and people that want to win. I mean, what else could you possibly want to be a part of, And I get it, for some kids, it's all about the money, but I think it's way more important than that. It's way deeper. It's how good of a man you can be. It's how good of people surrounding you can develop you into the best player you can be as well. It's not just about how much money you can get. And, Vanderbilt also stepped it up in that area and is able to compete with anyone else in the SEC now too. So I think you got pretty much the best of all worlds here at Vanderbilt.
It's got to be so rewarding, because I'm sure when you were during that time, many people were like, Langston, come on, what are you doing? Why are you staying? You're crazy. Like, go somewhere else. To now see it all working out in your senior season, that's just got to be an awesome feeling, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. You just sometimes the external just likes to mess with your head, and it's like people trying to pull you in one direction, and then people in the building are trying to pull you a whole different direction. And honestly, you just got to be somewhere in the middle. You can't pay attention to what everyone outside, like your own little circle, is telling you. You got to have a circle that you trust, and that really wants the best for you. There is certainly people at Vanderbilt who didn't have my best interest in mind, had Vanderbilt's best interest in mind, but I had a great group of people that really valued my best interest, and really I just couldn't be any happier being here, being at Vanderbilt, being a part of this team, and I knew this is just the place I wanted to be.
You need confident people to turn around this program. We know your quarterback, Diego Pavia, exudes confidence, and that dude's just a warrior. What is it like? You leading the defense, him leading the offense, just kind of that relationship that you got with your quarterback.
Yeah, it's awesome. Every day in practice, it's to just going back and forth every day, but it expands much more than that. And how I knew Diego was one of those guys, it's really his attitude. It's, that belief that he's not going to lose in anything. And just in the facility, we're both in the facility all the time. We're, playing pig, and my coach in the linebacker room, we have a little like miniature hoop basketball. And I remember one day we probably played for like 3 hours.
Wow.
And just like that mindset of like, I'm not going to lose. And we were playing because Diego kept losing, but he was like, we got to play again. We got to play again. And that's where I was kind of like, I can get behind this guy. It was that attitude of like, I won't win. I can't end on a loss. Like, he'll do anything it takes to win, even if it does mean cheat or do whatever. So it's just been such a blessing for me just to be able to play, with him every day in practice and go back and forth.
So your jump shot's better than your quarterback's jump shot is what you're telling me?
Yeah, it is. Ask him about it.
I would love to. So I'm a Heisman voter. Obviously, right now, 7 weeks into the season, Diego Pavia is obviously under consideration for that award. He did have the pose this past weekend, which I absolutely loved. You're around him each and every day. Why do you think that guy right now with what he's doing could be a Heisman Trophy winner this season?
He ultimately should be. It's who's the best player in college football. Like, that's what the Heisman should be. And to see him come into Vanderbilt and completely it's been a lot of guys, but he's been a big catalyst for the reason this thing has turned around. And to take a team that was coming off a 2-10 season and in 2 years have been able to turn it into a team that's competing to be in the playoffs. I mean, if you're looking for, like, who else in college football is doing that, And so if you're looking at the best player in college football, to me, I don't even know who else you would be looking at. Whether it's a teammate, a captain, balls on the field every Saturday. Every time you turn on the tape on Saturday, he's the best player on the field. And it's I've got so much confidence in him. The team's got so much confidence in him. And it's just truly someone that you love just to play by.
We know there's no days off in the SEC. Your next opponent is Missouri. We know they got a solid quarterback in Bo Perbula. The running back Hardy, man, he's tough to take down. Just how about the challenge that Missouri presents this weekend?
Yeah, they've been going at the same system for 5 years now, stretch, the boots, the nakeds, all that kind of stuff. So this week's really just dialing into us, staying to what we do. We talk about focus and execution, focus on our job, execute our game plan. And we can't worry about Missouri because Missouri, we know what Missouri is going to bring, and they've got some good players, and they're going to bring everything they have, but we just got to focus on us because we believe we have the better team. And so just being able to execute on defense will be huge this Saturday just to get our offense the ball, get it in Diego's hands to go score. They certainly got some good players, and I'm excited for the challenge.
Last thing I'll ask you, Langston Patterson, it's obviously better to be in this situation than when it was with 2 wins. But with that comes distractions, right? People are saying, all right, Vanderbilt's ranked 10th. They better go make the college football playoff now. Diego Pavia could win the Heisman Trophy. Each and every week, people are looking at your team, and maybe they're waiting for the shoe to drop, or maybe for you guys to keep on going towards those goals. It's also your final season, right? People start thinking about the NFL. How do you stay locked in on the moment so you guys can take advantage of the opportunity that you have at hand?
Yeah, we talk about it all the time. Just enjoy the day, enjoy the process, be where your feet are because I'm convinced that all the people outside of our team don't even watch us playing games. From what you're hearing, it's after the Bama game, Diego had 2 turnovers there at the end, and everyone was like, Diego shouldn't even be competing for the Heisman and all that stuff. And you're like, what are you talking about? If you didn't watch, you didn't even watch the game then, because you'd have saw all the opportunities and the chances we had to win that game at Bama, and we just didn't. And after the Bama game, it's Vanderbilt's a fraud. They haven't played anybody. And you're just well, you don't know football then, because if you know football, how we competed. And, you watch the LSU game and you watch a team that physically dominated a top 10 team from the start to the finish to the game. And, we wish we could have had a lot of plays back, and I'm sure LSU did too. But, you watched one team dominate another, regardless of the score. And so, for us, it's just keep playing our game. It's easy to want to listen to what people have to say about you when it's good. But like I said earlier, it's the good, the bad. Just focus on the middle, just be where your feet are and just play our game.
Well, I love your insight. Love the perspective and the story. Really appreciate the time. Langston Patterson, thanks so much for doing this, and good luck, good health the rest of the season.
Yep. Thank you so much.
There he is, Langston Patterson, joining us on the Zach Gelb Show on the Infinity Sports Network. We'll take a break. We'll come on back. We'll update some of the biggest stories in the world of sports with some audio. We will get to a news brief next. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA, is the place to bet on NBA stars this season. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code GELB. That's code GELB, G-E-L-B. Bet $5 and get 3 months of NBA League Pass, plus get $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Budo Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through per wager tax may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Must be present in state where it's lawful to wager. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets that are non-cash credits that expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. NBA League Pass subject to blackouts and other restrictions, and all renews until canceled. Additional terms at dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Valid until November 16th, 2025.
You're in a 4-minute break. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Time for your daily news brief. We get you caught up on the rumors, reports, and reconnaissance from the day in sports.
Alrighty, let's get to a news brief. We start things off with Ashton Genty. He's not happy with the current state of Stu's Raiders offense. Jeez, the hits keep on coming, Stu. Go ahead.
If we're being honest, it's been, losing culture around here for a long time. But we have to continue to work to fix that and bring winning back here.
Let's get to Vic Fangio, Eagles defensive coordinator, and Brandon Graham coming on back.
You see what kind of shape he's in, what kind of retention he has from last year. Shape comes in two forms. One, just your conditioning, but in football, shape too, contact shape. So hopefully the sooner the better.
That's the thing. Like, Brandon Graham, I don't know how ready he's going to be, but he's had all this time off. He was still training. Maybe it takes a game to get your feet back from underneath you and all that, but I think that's it. The correct expression, right? Your feet back underneath you, right? And then you take it from there. But it's really when you get down into December and then into the playoffs, that's when you expect BG to be BG. You do get the Eagles up against the Giants this weekend. 2 weeks ago, I was there, MetLife Stadium, and I did see the Giants stomp on the Eagles. Here's Vic Fangio, what he's learned about Jackson Dart.
One lesson's learned, and the teams that need quarterbacks that bypass them, they're going to regret that. Obviously very athletic.
Wait, what?
An elite scrambler. I think their coaches have done a great job with him. They've developed the offense around him. Throws the ball very well, intermediate and deep.
I think I didn't hear that correctly. But play that audio one more time.
One lesson's learned, and the teams that need quarterbacks that bypass them, they're going to regret that. Obviously very athletic, an elite scrambler. I think their coaches have done a great job with him. They've developed the offense around him. Throws the ball very well, intermediate and deep.
When he said bypass, I just heard gastric bypass, like the surgery. That's what I heard. I go, what? Because Samter goes to me, oh, it's a good quote there from Vic Fangio. Gets my ear, Samter. He goes, good quote from Vic Fangio on Jackson Dart. And I'm like, okay. And then my ears are like intently listening. And for some reason, I heard gastric bypass. Where the heck is my brain this week? Let's go to Shane Steichen on Daniel Jones' breakout year with the Indianapolis Colts. Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I think it's comfortability with the guys, being around the guys, being in the system. And I think the preparation builds confidence. And he's the guy, like I talked about earlier. It's just the preparation that he puts in day in and day out. He's making big-time throws, getting us in and out of the right play. We can all feel it. So, we take it one day at a time, and we got to keep doing it, each and every week.
Let's get to Jerry Jones. We could all use a laugh this week. Let's hope Jerry Jones provides that. This is on Sean and RJ, 105.3 The Fan. In Dallas, Jerry Jones asks, is the defense building trust?
That's a strong word, but it's real. It's very real. You certainly want to believe as a team, whether it's the coach or the players, that your scheme, what you're doing, is sound and not have flaws in it or holes in it. But so success is very important. But they'd be the quickest people, the players, to tell you that a bigger part of why we played some good defense was because we did what we were supposed to do in the system.
Do I think the defense is building trust? Or I think this defense is really good? No. I think the last few weeks what you've seen is that Dak Prescott's just playing at an incredibly high level. CeeDee Lamb comes back. Before that, George Pickens was dominating. This, to me, has been offense with the Cowboys. Why they've been able to win 2 out of their last 3. It's not really this defensive performance that I'm sitting there and saying, oh, wow, this is now a defensive juggernaut. Let's go to Jerry Jones. Have any plans for the trade deadline? Sean and RJ, once again, 105.3 The Fan.
I don't know that to actually affect a trade, that what we see over the next few weeks is the most important ingredient as to how there might be a trade. They'll probably, if there were a trade, it will be because it fits us.
Yeah, no crap. A trade's going to happen because it fits you well. Yeah, Samter?
There's nobody who takes more time to say what he wants to say and then says nothing.
I can think of one other person. I wasn't talking about you. Did you think I was talking about you?
For a second, yeah.
No?
I thought you were talking about him.
Oh, really?
I did.
No. Hand up, honest admission, I was not talking about you. I was talking somebody else around here. But I will keep that person nameless. Alrighty, let's go to Troy Vincent. Any changes to the new kickoff rule coming?
And it was important at this level to keep the foot in the game. So having people like yourself involved. Hey, we tried a few things, made a couple tweaks. The dynamic kickoff today, going into week 7, it has almost an 80% return rate. And we look at protecting players from unnecessary risk, we really feel like we've got to a place where, from an injury standpoint, it is equivalent to that of that scrimmage play, that offensive, defensive play. It's been wonderful to see. There's been some unintended consequences on a positive side. It has changed strategy on how people are approaching the last 4 minutes and inside of 2.
I will say the kickoff has become interesting. I will just say, though, if I could talk to Troy Vincent, my question would be, why not just go back to how the kickoff always was? And I know what he's going to say, oh, player safety play, it's an unsafe play. I'm going to be like, oh, does the NFL really care about player safety? To the room. Let's get to Jacoby Myers. Do you still want to be traded?
We know where you stood before the season. I mean, is that still your desire? As far as wanting to be traded? Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm saying, like, I'm a professional at the end of the day. Like, I'm just trying to play good football. So at the end of the day, if I'm here, like I said, I'll play good football. If I'm not here, I go out there and play what I'm supposed to do.
Imagine you're just like, black hole? No, hellhole. Get me out of here. I don't want to be here anymore. Last night, you had 2 games to tip off the NBA season. The Golden State Warriors ended up beating the Los Angeles Lakers by a score of 119-109. And then you had a double overtime thriller between the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Houston Rockets. Kevin Durant was back in OKC, and he had to respond about the fans booing him.
It's not real. I mean, I get so much love when I come in here from all the fans. Walking onto the court, at the hotel, walking around town. Every time I come here, it's just so much love and respect. And people always tell me they appreciate my time here, and it's always vice versa. I feel the same way. So, but that's part of the brand of OKC is to boo me when my name get introduced. But I think it's all love after that.
Let's get to Michael Jordan, NBA on NBC. I saw that there was a lot with Mike Tirico and Michael Jordan, but now the NBC coverage. And I did not watch this live, but a lot of people told me it was really boring, and MJ kind of put him to sleep. So let's listen up here. This is Michael Jordan. Does he still play basketball a lot?
I haven't picked up a ball in years.
No, come on. Just like walk past. There's got to be a hoop somewhere at your place.
You don't see a hoop anywhere around here, right?
I don't. Wait, seriously, the last time you picked up a basketball and shot it?
I was at the Ryder Cup, and I rented a house from the owner.
Sure.
He came over to do pictures. He had grandkids, and he had a basketball court. He says, I want you to shoot 1 free throw. I said, really? So when I stepped up to shoot the free throw, it's the most nervous I've been in years.
Stop it.
What?
In years.
Stop it. Come on.
And reason being is those kids heard the stories from the parents about what I did 30 years ago. So their expectation is 30 years prior, and I haven't touched the basketball.
I hope you switched it.
Absolutely. I got the most gratifying, that made my whole week, is that I was able to please that kid, not knowing if I could.
That's a great clip. Mark Hochman on 560 WQAM telling me when I did the spot with him today that MJ was boring last night. I don't know the rest of it, but I thought that was a pretty good clip right there. Let's get one more for MJ, why he's doing these spots with NBC.
Pay it forward. I have an obligation to the game of basketball. From as a basketball player is to be able to pass on messages of success and dedication to the game of basketball.
Still love it?
Love it like you wouldn't believe. I mean, in all honesty, I wish I could take a magic pill, put on shorts, and go out and play the game of basketball today. Because that's who I am. That type of competition, that type of competitiveness is what I live for, and I miss it. I miss that aspect of playing the game of basketball. Being able to challenge myself against what people see as great basketball. But it's better for me to be sitting here talking to you as opposed to popping my Achilles, and I'm in a wheelchair for a while.
Popping my Achilles and I'm in a wheelchair for a while. Let's get to Tom Izzo on the NCAA allowing former G League players to play college basketball.
I'm going to get myself in trouble, but I listen to people talk of how kids changed. Kids aren't the problem. We're the problem. This was sprung on us again yesterday, where a guy can be in the G League for 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden he's eligible. Most of my people knew nothing about it. I don't think our commissioner I am not real excited about the NCAA or whoever's making these decisions without talking to us, just letting it go because they're afraid they're going to get sued. And so don't blame the players anymore. Blame the adults that make the decisions that allow some of these ridiculous things to happen.
I love Tom Izzo. That's phenomenal. So this player, London Johnson, who's a former 4-star recruit, I'm reading this on ESPN. He averaged 7.6 points per game over 3 seasons in the G League, announced his commitment to Louisville last month. And another G League player, Theory Darlin, I don't even know if I'm saying his name correctly, announced his commitment to Santa Clara. How the heck is that possible? I don't understand that. But Tom Izzo's right. Don't get mad at the players, right? Like, if Stu wanted to play and they said, you could play. Even though Stu was, let's say, 45, playing amongst, like, 10-year-olds. All right. It's on the player. It's on the people that allow it. But Coach is 100% right. All righty. That's a news brief. Zach Gelb Show, Infinity Sports Network. I'll get to Justin Fields on the other side. I will also get to Sean Payton on the other side, and we'll go through the BS meter right there. 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Let me go to Mike in Abilene, Texas. Mike, what's happening?
My man, best on the air, best on the waves. Thanks for taking my call. Man, what a college football season, boys. We're just blessed, right? All these good teams, all these good games. I hate Lane Kiffin, and seeing Ole Miss be good is cool. Bama beating Georgia, cool. Just, the upstarts. I don't know if it's prediction time yet, but, boy, our defense looks solid, doesn't it, boys?
Your defense looks phenomenal at Ohio State.
I didn't expect it.
Here's the thing, though, because, Mike, you are a good, honest Ohio State fan. I don't know if anyone's ever put honest and Ohio State in the same sentence. I'm kidding a little bit. But I know that your fandom, you are not someone that's easy to win over. There have been years where Ohio State has been playing some good football, really good football, and you have not been satisfied with the product. I will ask you this. I think you guys are the best team in the country right now. You guys are 7-0. You have a great defense. Your offense is 2 phenomenal wide receivers. And Julian Sayin is obviously doing his job right now. With that being said, though, Texas isn't good. You beat Illinois, who was overrated. I know how you are, so I am wondering your view of this football team. They're winning all the games they're playing. They're undefeated, but how good, how great do you think they are?
I think potentially we got to start with roster. I mean, find me a better one. Not saying there isn't one that's as good and as loaded, but I think for me, and you're right, man, I have such high expectations, and I am very, very harsh on my guys, but only because I feel like most of the time, apart from some crazy words I say, I mean, the talent says we should have these expectations. So for me, again, man, and you've heard me say this, God, I hate the Big Ten so much. You talk about weak. I don't care about Oregon. Clearly, you had a great second. You had a great blip on the radar. You're still ranked right now. I know who you are. You're the same as Penn State. You're going to win some good games. You're going to get some new recruits because of NIL and stuff. But when it comes down to it, especially with what we have trending now, the momentum we have now, that was the best thing. I don't think we're going to lose to Michigan this year. I think we have now mentally entered a Nick Saban / Kirby Smart's team 2 or 3 years ago where it's like we don't even question if we're going to win. We question how bad we can potentially beat you. And my thing is, if we were in the SEC, there'd be no doubt. God, I wish we were in the SEC, because if we were doing this in the SEC, we'd be playing much better teams, and there would be no doubt about strength of schedule. And the worst part is when you have a weak schedule, when you finally run into that team that you might still be more talented than, but has been in dog fights all year, and you've just been crushing people by 50, go see our national championship back-to-back in 06 and 07. That's why we got beat. You can't tell me there was more talent on those teams, maybe the same amount, but you cannot tell me we lost those games because we were the more inferior team. We lost them because we have a cushy league and our teams are crap and overrated, and it's just no good for us, man. We need these SEC matchups, and obviously, you know, the win against Texas looks not as good because they're not as good as we thought. But, dude, if we were in the SEC, there would be no questions. There'd be nothing to say if we were doing this, and that's my thing, man. I don't know. I think we'll be Final Four for sure. Mm-hmm. But if we run into one of these teams an SEC team that had to play OU, Texas, Georgia, Ole Miss, Bama, Mizzou, Vandy, like, we don't have a single team in our division, in my opinion, that could probably beat those teams 5 out of 6, 3 out of 4 times. I think we can compete with them a little bit because of NIL. You got Oregon, Penn State ain't nothing. Now what? Who do we have? Illinois.
Indiana,
yeah, you got a little bit of
Cignetti. Google me. Cignetti. Let's go Hoosiers.
And here's the thing. It's shaping up to be a crazy Big Ten championship because, A, you know where it starts. I don't care what happens. Apart from my expectations, there's one game a year, and that's the game that matters. And this year, there's more pressure than ever, Ryan. If you're listening, Ryan, there's more pressure than ever. Don't do it again. And you'll be just fine, and we'll love you, and we'll build you a shrine. But if you think that natty means more to us than the game we should win every year, and the game we did win for 9 years in a row that no one wants to talk about until he cheated, let's be clear, folks. Doesn't matter. Got to win it. And if we win it, and we win it big in their stadium this year, you will see a repeat of last year's playoff dominance. Matt Patricia, folks, good luck, everybody.
I got to ask you a question, Mike, before we let you run. Mike at Abilene, Texas, here with us on the show, 888-710-4ISN, 888-710-4476. Pretend you are Urban Meyer. I am Pat Kraft, AD at Penn State. This. I want you to be my head football coach. Ohio State, they have you on TV. Florida doesn't even recognize you anymore. I want you to win a national championship at your third different school. Urban, whatever you need. Are you my next head football coach? What would you say?
I think if they make that call, he might take it. But at the same time, he's not a complete idiot. He has dialed it down a little bit. But if he did take that job, let me tell you, we'll make it personal. Again, you didn't act a fool for us. Now, the way you left with your whole Tom Herman crap, that's pretty unacceptable, buddy. What you did at Jacksonville might not trump a natty at Ohio State. Might not. But for me, the way you behaved yourself, I would like to excommunicate you as a Buckeye. Thanks for what you did for us. That's great. I don't condone that behavior, and I don't follow any sports athlete that condones themselves or puts themselves in a situation like he was involved in. And then that whole Jacksonville fiasco, if he takes that job, we're going to beat them by 150 every single time. You heard it here first, Zach. Hey, again, thanks, man. Best on the airwaves, brother.
You got it. There he is, Mike in Abilene, Texas. We'll take a timeout. We will go through the BS meter when it pertains to two people, one being Justin Fields, one being Sean Payton. And we'll get to that next. Update time first. Here's Zach.
Infinity Sports Network, Sports Flash.
And this report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Your small business keeps you on the go. Progressive Commercial Insurance keeps your policy within reach with their easy-to-use mobile app. Learn more at progressivecommercial.com. The NBA season is underway, and it opens without 3 of its biggest stars who are recovering from torn Achilles. One is Jason Tatum, as the Celtics begin life without their best player tonight when they host the Sixers. A big loss, but the cupboard is not bare in Boston as Jaylen Brown remains, and the former Finals MVP is ready to shoulder a bigger load this year.
Holding myself accountable, Joe holding me accountable to play with that energy, put my body on the line, make sure that we're all ready to go. Sets the tone for the whole training camp, for everybody. So, I've tried to lead everything from the beginning of training camp to now.
The next sensation, Cooper Flagg makes his NBA debut when the Mavericks host the Spurs. The game matches the top pick from this year's draft against the number 1 pick in 2023, Victor Wembanyama. The Commanders' Jaden Daniels will reportedly sit out Monday night against the Chiefs with a sore hamstring, while Lamar Jackson back at Ravens practice today after missing a couple of games with a hamstring injury of his own. The Giants made a bold move, hiring former Tennessee baseball coach Tony Vitello as their new manager. I'm Rich Eck.
Hey, like us on Facebook. Our handle is INF Sportsnet. That's INF Sportsnet for our Facebook page. This is the Infinity Sports Network.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Five seconds remaining. 30 seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Hey, this is Howie. And this is Nick from the Backstreet Boys. And you're listening to the Zach Gelb Show. And guess what? Zach is back. All right.
He's live. He's nationwide. This is the Zach Gelb Show.
Oh, my God.
Alrighty, so we got to get some answers on some things. We'll go around the room on a scale of no BS to all the BS in the world. 1 being no BS, 10 being all the BS in the world. Where do we fall on this? This is Justin Fields responding to the media. Yesterday, Woody Johnson basically just trashed him. Today, Aaron Glenn was like, oh, no, Woody loves or likes Justin Fields. He never said he didn't like him. This is Justin Fields finally getting asked about the entire situation. Listen up.
Justin, what was your reaction to Woody Johnson's comments yesterday?
I didn't see any comment. I'm not y'all know I'm not on social media at all.
Nobody briefed you here with the Jets, what he said?
No, not really.
He was highly critical of you. He basically said, if you guys could complete a pass, things would look good here. He kind of said, the quarterback play, the can't win with a quarterback with a rating like they have. Like, so you weren't aware of any of that?
Nah, I wasn't. Like I said, I'm not on social media. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't. Of course, everybody knows. I need to play better. We need to play better as a team, and that's what it is. No matter if it's him, no matter if it's family members, even teammates. Sometimes there's gonna be times where you have to be the only one who believes in yourself. So like I said, that's his opinion. Like I told you guys after the game on Sunday, I'm at peace.
1 to 10. 1, all the no BS. 10, all the BS in the world. Do you think what's the number on that Justin Fields did not know about anything Woody Johnson said?
It's got to be a 10.
Samter?
No, not a 10. I mean, the only thing that gives me pause is him when they ask, like, no one briefed you on what he said, and he goes, not really. I think he knew something, but I legitimately think that he didn't really, like, maybe someone said, hey, Woody ripped you, and he just kind of was like, okay, cool, whatever. I don't think that he heard the audio. I don't think that he knew all the quotes.
So what's the number?
6.5.
Okay. Only the Jets, where it is possible that their own PR people maybe didn't talk to the quarterback about this. I can't totally dismiss it. My number is 4,263 times about 4 million. He knew. He's just actually being a professional there, and I respect that, where he's the one guy that's not trying to create more drama. Woody Johnson, drama guy. Aaron Glenn, turning into a drama guy. Justin Fields doesn't want to deal with the BS. But, yeah, that was definitely BS. Now, let's get to Sean Payton. He responded to Russell Wilson, where Russ responded and wasn't happy with Sean Payton basically saying, hey, I was hoping that when we played the Giants, they would still have their old quarterback pretty much, and that Jackson Dart would not be on the field, and obviously that wasn't the case. Here is Sean Payton responding to Russell Wilson, responding to Sean Payton. Let's get to Sean Payton.
I did. Look, in the euphoria, the way that game unfolded, that was strictly about Dart. I mean, and I that was in no way, shape, or form anything that was directed at Russ. So, and I might be able to see how he might perceive that, but coming off that win and watching how he played, that wasn't any intention at all.
Samter, 1 No BS 10, all the BS in the world. Sean Payton's thoughts on Jackson Dart were genuine, and they had nothing to do with taking a slight and a little shot at his old quarterback in Russell Wilson.
I don't think that was the intention to take a shot at Russell Wilson. Maybe it was part of it, but it wasn't intended to be like that. I'm going to go 3. When I first heard that quote, I was like, he's talking about Dart. And I get it that he's making a reference to who the quarterback was, but I don't think it was about that. I think he was just saying, I really like this kid Dart, and I really didn't want to have to face him. So I'm going to go 3. And I certainly don't think Russ's tweet about him being classless had anything. I don't think it was classless at all. Maybe it was a slight shot, but no, I do not think it was classless. So I'll go 3.
Stuart?
It was definitely isn't a 10. I think it still was a shot at Russ, even though that we just heard from Sean. So I will say it's like an 8.5.
I'm going to go 4.5, and here's why. I think it's 50-50. I think you go either way. I do lean that Sean was trying to be very complimentary of Jackson Dart, and in the process, he was like, who's the back? Oh, yeah, it's the guy that I was fond of in Denver, in Russell Wilson. So because of the fact that the praise I thought was priority number 1, that's why I end up going a little bit lower on the scale. I think it was just, kind of when you make an ice cream sundae, right? You get the main stuff there, the ice cream, maybe some chocolate chips, some sprinkles, some Oreos, and then on top, a Reese's peanut butter cup, very good topping. And then I spent, by the way, $22 on a delivery for ice cream this past weekend. I didn't realize it was going to be that much. It was bad job by your boy, but it was good. It was worth it. And then at the top, you put like a dab of whipped cream. I think that was a dab of whipped cream taking the shot at Russell Wilson. It was like the end. There was a lot of stuff that happened in the beginning. Anyway, it's time to answer Ask the Pros question of the day, brought to you by O'Reilly Auto Parts. Let's get to Tony in Michigan. Is Justin Fields the worst starting quarterback in the NFL right now? You can submit a question by tuning out INS Sports Center at Zach Gelb. Use the hashtag Ask the Pros. Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for our car care needs, guaranteed low prices, and excellent customer service from the professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Yeah. Tua's up there right now. Stinky. Geno Smith?
Geno Smith is up there.
Geno Smith up there too. Wait a second, Jim. Yeah. I do believe that it is Justin Fields. He got benched for Tyrod Taylor. And I know Geno got benched for Kenny Pickett, but yeah. I'll go Justin Fields right now. How about that, Pat Boyle? Big thanks, Pat Boyle, for joining us today on the show. Also, big thanks to Langston Patterson. Really enjoyed that conversation from the Vanderbilt football team. And we'll be back tomorrow on a Thursday. What a week this has been. Right at 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific time. We will do a little this QB or that QB on a Thursday, get to a news brief. Stu will be here. Sandra will be here. The whole gang will be here. And we will talk to you then. Really appreciate you listening. We will chat mañana. We out. Bye-bye. Peace.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.